Chapter 1. Mirror, mirror, who is the most handsome person on this island? Standing in front of a large mirror, Wang Zibin asked this sentence shamelessly. Then, the big mirror in front of him fluctuated unexpectedly, and countless portraits flashed in the mirror, as if searching for information, and finally stopped in front of the portrait of Wang Zibin. Dear Mage, you are the most handsome person on this island. Looking at his handsome face in the mirror, and listening to the truth told by the magic mirror after retrieval, Wang Zibin nodded in satisfaction. Young Master Shi Wushuan is talking about the current self. However, even so, Wang Zibin did not show much smile, but looked at the figure in the mirror from top to bottom. This is a handsome guy who can't find any flaws in human aesthetics. He is slender, with sword eyebrows and star eyes. The luxurious mage robes set off his identity, making the whole house dim. Because this is a small room, it even looks a bit cramped, which is not worthy of Wang Zibin's image. After Wang Zibin inspected himself, he untied the mage's robe directly, revealing his naked upper body. What a strange body is this! Skinny, as if lacking nutrition, bruised and purple, as if being abused. No, it's not like, this is the body after being abused. Wang Zibin looked at his body with a sneer on the corner of his mouth. He is mocking himself. To be precise, he was mocking his original self. That's right, the current Wang Zibin is a time traveler, a person who traveled from Blue Star. 10 minutes ago, after Wang Zibin regained consciousness, he felt pain all over his body, and then in the pain, he received the memory of the original owner. This is a fantasy world, and he is a first-order mage who just broke through. According to the normal process, becoming a first-order mage, he can not only get great honor, but also get the corresponding treatment immediately. At least, this cramped room is not worthy of his status as a first-order mage. Not to mention, he was beaten violently after becoming a first-order mage. There is only one explanation for all this, that is, Wang Zibin is not a normal mage. He is a black mage. In this world, mages are divided into 3 categories: white mage, black mage, and grey mage. Only Master Bai will receive normal treatment. Even grey mages can get not too much treatment. Only black mages who believe in absolute power will disregard the dignity of mages and do whatever they can to fight for what they want. Wang Zibin, who accepted the memory, knew that the injury on his body was caused by his good brother Li Xiaohu. What Wang Zibin was on was an island completely controlled by the Black Mage, Beskar Island. The 3 magic towers represent the highest authority on the island. Tower of the Past, Tower of the Present, Tower of the Future. Where Wang Zibin is located is the Tower of the Future. A month ago, the Master Mage of the Tower of the Future died in an accident. Therefore, after the resolution of the Master Mages of the 2 towers in the past and the present, the Tower Master of the Future Tower will be directly selected from the interior of the Future Tower. The election of the tower owner this time made all the mages in the Tower of the Future go crazy in an instant. This is an opportunity to control one of the 3 magic towers on Bisk Island, which means that as long as you become the tower owner, you can ascend to the sky in 1 step and control 1/3 of the power on Bisk Island. And more importantly, because the Tower of the Future is incomplete, there are only first-order mages and magic apprentices. So as long as you are a first-order mage, you have the qualifications to compete for the Tower Master. You know, the original tower owner was a 3rd-tier mage. In addition, the rules of this competition are to focus on the arena and fight without rules, and the final winner will be the tower owner. This naked black mage's battle rules for raising gu made the mages inside the future tower full of restlessness. Clique formation is definitely an inevitable product of such a battle. So Wang Zibin immediately approached his childhood friend excitedly. Li Xiaohu, who had known him since childhood, came here together, practiced together, and even became a mage together within a few days. Originally, this would be a picture of a friendly alliance where brothers are united in one mind and their profits cut through gold. But never, 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 Wang Zibin confides his difficulties to Li Xiaohu. Currently, he cannot cast magic. And when Wang Zibin finished speaking, Li Xiaohu turned his face in an instant, beat him up, and then walked away. A waste that can't cast magic, but still wants to form an alliance with me. Naive Wang Zibin, why did he ever think that his best friend, Li Xiaohu, would cut off his relationship like this? It even turned around and beat him up severely. The physical pain, Fa Xiao's true face, and the despair of not being able to cast magic took away the consciousness of the original owner, making Blue Star's Wang Zibin and Li Dao stiff. From the perspective of Wang Zibin now, he is naturally full of appreciation for Li Xiaohu's behavior. from the perspective of the identity of a black mage, Li Xiaohu's approach is a qualified black mage. In the face of interests, the so-called friendship is nothing but the cheapest thing. But Wang Zibin, feeling the pain in his body, as a victim, said to himself, "But, I was the one who was beaten, I was the victim. Li Xiaohu, are you ready to face my fury?" Wang Zibin said with a blank face. He didn't think about healing the wounds on his body first, but immediately determined his determination to take revenge. Perhaps the former Wang Zibin never thought of revenge at all, because compared to Li Xiaohu, who is strong and able to release magic, he is just a mage with superficial appearance, who has no mana but cannot release magic. But Wang Zibin is different now, he has already sorted out his own problems, so he has absolute confidence. First of all, the problem that Wang Zibin could not cast magic originally was because after he became a mage, he found that he could not construct spells, that is, he could not integrate magic runes to form a spell model. Therefore, he became a mage who had no mana, could not carry mana without a spell model, and could not release magic. Even after Wang Zibin crossed over, he couldn't change this. However, there is no unparalleled path. According to the current Wang Zibin's analysis, magic runes are actually the condensed essence of this world's civilization, so they can carry mana. Therefore, in theory, as long as it is the condensed essence of civilization, it must also be able to carry mana. The so-called dragon language magic is the same. After experimenting, Wang Zibin found that his language and culture as a flower grower on Blue Star can also do this. At this time, in Wang Zibin's mind, there is a spell in the only innate spell slot obtained as a first-order mage, do twice the result with half the effort. Chapter 2. Twice the result with half the effort, spend half the effort and get double the effect, refers to doing things well, so the effort is small and the effect is great. This idiom, which condenses the civilization of flower growers, directly became Wang Zibin's spell, and he loaded it into his own talent spell slot. The innate spell slot is a godsend that a mage will get one every time he rises to a level, and it exists in the mage's mind. Mage, from low to high, is first to 9th level, and when you reach the 9th level, you will have 9 innate spell slots. The role of the innate spell slot is to greatly reduce the consumption of loading its spells and the chanting time, which can be called a superpower for a mage to release spells. Of course, each level of innate spell slots can only place spells of the corresponding level. However, Wang Zibin could perceive that because he did not place a serious spell model, his innate spell slot could place any idioms that condensed the civilization of planting flowers. It's just that because the innate spell slots only reduce consumption, not without consumption, some high-level spells cannot be realized with the current strength of Wang Zibin's first-level mage. For example, Heaven and Earth Crash was the first thing Wang Zibin wanted to try to load after he discovered that he could use idioms as spells. However, before he finished loading, a fatal crisis rushed into his mind, forcibly loading Sky Crash, he will die. Wang Zibin knew that something like Heaven Falling and Earth Shattering could obviously be counted as a forbidden spell, and it was definitely not something that his current strength could support. After some attempts, Wang Zibin summed up his golden finger. 1. It is possible to replace magic runes with Chinese characters that condense the culture of planting flowers, that is, to replace spells with idioms. 2. Innate spell slots are not restricted by class, but consumption needs to be considered, that is, idioms that exceed their own consumption cannot be loaded. It is precisely because of such a golden finger that Wang Zibin has the confidence to say the words of revenge on Li Xiaohu. Boom boom boom. At this moment, there was a knock on the door. Wang Zibin was shocked. It's so difficult that Li Xiaohu is going to make up for it. To be honest, after having gold finger, Wang Zibin didn't want to go head-to-head with Li Xiaohu so soon. After all, he just discovered his golden finger, and it hasn't developed at all. Fortunately, the voice that sounded afterwards dispelled Wang Zibin's idea of preparing to fight recklessly. Dear Master Mage, the food of the Mage Tower has been placed at the door for you, please enjoy. Wang Zibin didn't answer, and the servant who delivered the food outside the door didn't care, bowed slightly to show respect to the mage, and left. After putting on his mage's robe to cover his bruised body, Wang Zibin waited for another quarter of an hour before he opened his door and took in the food from the door. These are 2 servings of food. One is the standard food provided by the Mage Tower, which is rich in nutrition but monotonous in taste. The other is an additional delicacy, full of color, fragrance, and taste. But Wang Zibin immediately dumped the food into the trash can and started to eat standard food. Even if the taste in his mouth is like chewing wax, Wang Zibin does not regret that he threw away the delicious food, the standard food is provided by the Mage Tower, which is absolutely safe, and no one dares to lay hands on it. But the additional delicacies are different. It is obvious that someone is planning to make a secret move and throw out the bait in advance. Maybe the food is normal now, but the closer the date of competing for the tower owner, the higher the chance of a secret hand. Therefore, in order to avoid being plotted against, Wang Zibin directly dumped the food into the trashcan without giving any chance. After eating the food, Wang Zibin sat upright on the bed and began to meditate. Mages meditate to increase their mana capacity. And with this meditation, Wang Zibin can more intuitively feel the effect of his spell, doubling the result with half the effort. The mana boost from meditation is doubled. This is an incredible bonus for any mage. What's more, Wang Zibin's physical talent is quite good. After becoming a mage, his mana value is very huge, which is about 10 times that of an ordinary mage. The inability to build a spell model is flawed, which is equivalent to increasing the size of the house for him, but lacking the means to go out. But all of this is no longer a problem in front of Wang Zibin now. Therefore, do more with less plus his own talent, the increase in Wang Zibin's mana is very exaggerated, if it is expressed in numerical value, that is, if the mana value increased by meditation of an ordinary first order mage is 1, then Wang Zibin's meditation benefit is 1/10 equals 20. 20 times the income of ordinary mages. Hours later, Wang Zibin stopped meditating. There is a limit to the time a mage can meditate every day. After reaching the upper limit, there is no benefit to meditating anymore. Ordinary mages would study magic runes and construct spell models after meditation. The same is true for the original body, even if it knows that it is impossible to build a spell model, it always tries hard. It is naturally impossible for Wang Zibin to waste time doing such things anymore, but started exercising in the room, squats, push-ups. After a while, Wang Zibin was sweating profusely and panting. Exercising is a waste of time for any mage. But for Wang Zibin, it is an essential thing. Because he is not a serious mage. Although Wang Zibin can be loaded with spells that can get twice the result with half the effort, Wang Zibin can clearly feel the exhaustion of his physical strength during meditation. That is to say, although loading twice the result with half the effort does not consume mana, it consumes his physical strength. After discovering this, Wang Zibin knew that in order to be able to release more spells like doubling the result with half the effort in the future, he must ensure his physical fitness. Obviously, because of his golden finger, Wang Zibin will become an unscrupulous mage who cultivates both strength and law. Wang Zibin, who is working hard to exercise, seems to have seen the scene where he is full of muscles and casts spells with a hammer. While Wang Zibin is concentrating on exercising, the other mages in the Mage Tower are restless. They wandered around, knocked on the door of one mage after another, and started forming cliques. Among them, Li Xiaohu is the most active. Knowing the essence of black mages well, he has already recruited several mages to form his own team. At this time, in Li Xiaohu's room, he sent away the mages who had been brought over one by one with a smile on his face, then stood at the door of the room, observed Wang Zibin's room diagonally opposite, and showed a sneer, "My good brother, I hope you don't get in my way on the day of competing for the Tower Master, otherwise, don't blame me for killing me." Chapter 3. Compared to Wang Zibin, who has always seemed naive, Li Xiaohu has adapted to the existence of the Black Mage as early as he came to the island of the Black Mage. The so-called Fa Xiao and the so-called Good Brothers are just people who are useful. Previously, Li Xiaohu maintained a good brotherhood because he knew that Wang Zibin had the talent for cultivation. But when he knew that Wang Zibin had a talent for cultivation but could not release magic, Li Xiaohu immediately turned his back on him, and even because he was always jealous of Wang Zibin's talent, after turning his back on him, he beat him up. In Li Xiaohu's heart, he had already listed the mages who threatened him. Once, Wang Zibin was even his number one enemy. Li Xiaohu's sorcerer talent is mediocre, he can be regarded as an ordinary sorcerer, he knows that Wang Zibin has 10 times his magic power. Originally, Li Xiaohu planned to use Wang Zibin's ability to eliminate other opponents first, and finally he made a move to kill Wang Zibin and obtain the position of Tower Master. It's just that Wang Zibin, who couldn't cast spells, directly changed from a thigh to a drag bottle, which made Li Xiaohu's plan aborted. Standing at the door now, what Li Xiaohu was thinking was that he was planning to take advantage of the battle for the tower owner to kill Wang Zibin. Naturally, Wang Zibin, who was exercising hard in the room, didn't know about this. But even if he knew, Wang Zibin wouldn't care, because by coincidence, he was going to do something to Li Xiaohu. The good brothers in the past seem to have become enemies of life and death in the blink of an eye. This is the Black Mage. In the blink of an eye, a month has passed. On this day, news came out from the mirrors in all mage rooms that they were going to compete for the Tower Master. According to the instructions of the magic mirror, the mages who had been prepared for a long time came out of the room and rushed to the middle of the mage tower. In the room, after Wang Zibin admired his muscles in the magic mirror, he put on the mage's robe and walked out of the room unhurriedly. Compared to a month ago, although Wang Zibin is still thinner, his injuries have already healed, and he has gained a little muscle. If the previous Wang Zibin was sub-healthy, then at least now, he is considered a healthy person. Especially when Wang Zibin came to the venue in the middle of the mage tower, looking at all the mages who were either pale or shady, he felt that he was more normal and healthy. Look at this group of mages, isn't this a standard villain? This is a wide field, and the ring made of spells is placed in the middle, which is the ring used to compete for the tower owner. The rules for competing for the tower owner this time are very simple. All mages will go to the arena. When there is only one mage left in the ring, that mage will become the tower owner of this mage tower. A very simple, yet extremely cruel rule. This shows that whether it is a clique or a lone ranger, it takes a brutal battle to obtain the position of tower master. At this time, all the mages were distributed around the arena, those with teams gathered together, and those who were alone looked around vigilantly, secretly preparing for the next battle. The moment Wang Zibin saw the ring, he understood that the limited space directly prevented the possibility of the Lone Ranger fighting to the end. Looking across, Wang Zibin happened to meet Li Xiaohu's gaze. The eyes of the two collided, and they smiled at the same time. Li Xiaohu, my good brother, you really came, so I can rest assured to kill Wang Zibin. I will repay the graciousness of the violent beating that day. Although the two were smiling, the look in their eyes could be described as murderous. Obviously, in this fight for the tower owner, the two former good brothers will inevitably face each other, and only one can have the last laugh. Not long after, as the mages arrived one after another, a majestic voice sounded in the sky, the battle for the tower master is about to begin. Let me repeat the rules of the battle. The winner is king. There are no rules and restrictions on the arena, and all mages who leave the arena will abstain by default. The last mage standing on the ring will be the tower master of the Tower of the Future. Now, please come on stage. Following a burst of magical fluctuations, steps to the stage appeared on all sides of the ring, and mages from all around also boarded the ring one by one. The mage who stepped onto the ring immediately began to grab the corner of the ring. As we all know, the people in the middle of the ring are undoubtedly the most likely to be targeted. Only mages who had formed a group in advance would approach the middle of the ring. After all, although the corners are good, they are easily pushed out by spells and lose their qualifications. Therefore, generally speaking, every position in the arena has its own advantages and disadvantages. Damn it! I don't know which dog thing is poisoning the food, causing me to urinate more than a dozen times a day. When Wang Zibin stepped up the stairs, he heard such a sentence in his ear, paused slightly, and turned his head to look at the three mages huddling around him. They were cursing about food poisoning. Obviously I have used the magic test, but I didn't expect to get it. Which BD, with such a dark hand, actually tricked me with delicious food. Listening to their words, Wang Zibin saw their pale faces and weak footsteps, so he couldn't help smiling. Sure enough, as he expected, the so-called delicious food is the bait. I have to say that although this method is a bit dirty, the effect is not bad. At least Wang Zibin has seen a dozen or so mages with food poisoning, which means that these mages are just going through the motions. When the battle starts, let alone perform supernormally. Okay. So who is the biggest beneficiary? While Wang Zibin was thinking, he looked at the biggest gangs in the ring. Only they are the biggest beneficiaries, and they will work tirelessly to do such a thing. Among the largest gang, a group of about 10 people led by Li Xiaohu was impressively listed. As if sensing Wang Zibin's gaze, Li Xiaohu also looked over, waiting for Wang Zibin to choose a position. If it was a corner, then Li Xiaohu would be a little disappointed. After all, for him who was near the middle of the ring, it would take a little effort to directly attack the corner. Under Li Xiaohu's gaze, Wang Zibin climbed onto the ring step by step. He did not choose a corner position, but came to the very middle of the ring. When Wang Zibin stood in the middle of the ring and looked around the audience, there was a brief silence in the originally noisy ring. They were amazed, they were puzzled, they couldn't believe it. A lone mage like Wang Zibin dared to stand in the middle of the ring. This means that Wang Zibin will become a thorn in the side and a thorn in the flesh of all mages. Chapter 4. Even Li Ziyahu shrank his pupils when he saw Wang Zibin coming to the middle of the ring. He couldn't believe that Wang Zibin would stand here. If it is said that the corners can get out of the ring in the first time and protect their own lives, then the middle of the ring is a place where there is no way out. This place will be set on fire 100%. Because it is impossible for someone to let Wang Zibin in the middle of the ring do nothing, at least these gangs around will be the first to make a move. So many of them dare not stand in the middle position, so why let Wang Zibin, a lone ranger, stand? After Wang Zibin stood in the middle, he didn't seem to be aware of his situation at all, but instead looked around the other mages leisurely. How dare he? Is this courting death or not being afraid of death? Where did the idiot come from? Did he want to commit suicide so soon? I'll give him my first spell for free later, let him die faster. After a short period of silence, many mages began to whisper to Wang Zibin. Obviously, Wang Zibin's actions caused their dissatisfaction. In other words, these mages began to envy the position of Wang Zibin. For them, this is a position that they want to stand, but they dare not stand, and they do not allow others to stand. In the middle of the arena, this is the position that everyone is looking at, and it is also the position of the winner. At this moment, Li Ziyahu looked at the ignorant Wang Zibin, and immediately stretched out his finger, pointing at Wang Zibin. Such a gesture, in the eyes of other gangs, represented that Li Ziyahu planned to be the first to attack Wang Zibin. In Wang Zibin's eyes, it undoubtedly represented Li Ziyahu's provocation to him. Faced with such a provocation, Wang Zibin immediately responded with a big smile. Wang Zibin's smile easily aroused Li Ziyahu's anger, so that there was a clear look of anger on his face. Wang Zibin, you BD who can't cast spells, let me see you off for the last time. In public, Li Ziyahu blatantly expressed Wang Zibin's pain points. Following Li Ziyahu's words, everyone showed a clear look. I said how dare he stand in the middle of the ring. It turned out that he couldn't cast spells and was planning to die. If it was Wang Zibin from before, he would have longed to find a crack in the ground and would have been afraid to face such words. But for the current Wang Zibin, after hearing Li Ziyahu's words, he laughed even more happily. Wang Zibin, who laughed happily, didn't respond, just laughed and waited for the sound of the battle for the Tower Master to start. All participating mages are ready. This battle will be fought under the past and present Tower Masters of the second tower. All interference outside the field will be regarded as a challenge to the two tower owners. I declare, the battle begins. When the sound of the start of the battle sounded, the mages on the ring instantly moved. Fireball. Ice archery. Spell shield. Fresh wind technique. All kinds of offensive, defensive, or evasive spells were released from the hands of the mages. All the attacking spells of the mages mercilessly hit their respective targets. Immediately, the battle in the arena showed a fierce trend. On the whole, the situation at the beginning was that all the gangs directly attacked the Lone Rangers in the corner. So much so that the Lone Rangers, within a few seconds, were either seriously injured and fell on the ring, or were forced to escape from the ring for self-protection. It can be said that in a short while, the Lone Rangers have been swept out of the ring area and lost their qualifications to participate. This is obviously a premeditated attack. The purpose is to eliminate the Lone Ranger. Among the Lone Rangers who were cleared, there were many powerful mages. However, they were no match for four hands. Facing the multiple magic attacks of the gang, they could only leave the field with hatred in the end. After a round of spell release, all Lone Rangers were eliminated except Wang Zibin in the middle of the ring. It is not difficult to see that before the battle started, these gangs reached a consensus to eliminate the Lone Ranger as soon as possible to prevent them from having the opportunity to benefit from the fisherman. After clearing the Lone Ranger, the gangs on the ring stopped at the same time, put up defensive spells, and looked at the gangs around them vigilantly. For them, the next step is to enter the real battle. At the same time, in the two mage towers of the past tower and the present tower, all the official mages watched the battle for the Tower Master in front of the magic mirror in the room. Seeing such a situation, they were not surprised at all. The only thing that interested them was Wang Zibin standing in the middle of the ring. At this time, as the only Lone Ranger left, Wang Zibin naturally received the attention of all mages in the ring. Even the biggest gangs in the vicinity turned their attention to Li Ziyahu. In their view, now is the time for Li Ziyahu to make a move on Wang Zibin. Being cautious, it is naturally impossible for them to put Wang Zibin in the last place, and they will not give Li Ziyahu and Wang Zibin a chance to act. Therefore, before starting the real battle, they must see the scene of Li Ziyahu knocking out Wang Zibin. The mages present were naturally not fools, so they all waited for Li Xiaohu's attack. In the eyes of everyone, Li Xiaohu did not hesitate, and was ready to launch the ice archery directly to penetrate Wang Zibin's heart. However, at such an urgent time, Wang Zibin made a move. After tidying up his clothes, he put his hands behind his back, raised his head slightly, and said loudly, "I've been very troubled for a long time." Wang Zibin's actions and words not only made Li Xiaohu stop his spells, but also made all the mages focus on him. For black mages, direct combat is the norm, and talking about it is all nonsense. Therefore, even the eliminated mages gave Wang Zibin a playful look. Even Wang Zibin has persisted longer than them. "Wang Zibin, are you talking about your last words?" Li Xiaohu interrupted Wang Zibin and showed a cruel smile. "No," Wang Zibin, who was interrupted, shook his head, and said with a posture that everyone is drunk and I am alone, "I'm just stating a fact. Everyone here, I want to tell you. What bothers me all the time is that I always look out of place with you because I'm not ugly and mean enough." Wang Zibin's sounding words made the whole venue instantly audible. Li Xiaohu's smile froze, and the black mages who watched the show were dumbfounded. Even the other mages who watched the battle felt the inexplicable damage. Chapter 5. It is no exaggeration to say that Wang Zibin's words are equivalent to a provocative skill of a group, directly causing the blood pressure of the black mages to rise, and the anger value to rise sharply. Especially Wang Zibin's handsome face, as well as his demeanor, which is completely different from other black mages, proved that what he said was true. It was Wang Zibin's truth that made them furious. In layman's terms, Wang Zibin tore their fig leaf. Indeed, due to the darkness of the heart and unscrupulous practice, most of the black mages are not normal in appearance, and people can tell that they belong to the villain type at a glance. Coupled with the evil magnetic field emanating from their surroundings, it further highlights their despicable behavior. Therefore, Wang Zibin, who is handsome and bright, naturally stands out from the crowd and is out of tune with them. This is a fact that all black mages know well, but they don't want to face it, and they dare not face it. But now, Wang Zibin himself said it outright, which is tantamount to tearing off their fig leaf brutally. After a moment of silence, the black mages whose fig leaf had been torn apart uttered murderous shouts in unison, "Kill him! Kill him! Kill him!" Even the black mages who watched the battle in front of the magic mirror and experienced extraordinary experience, many of them felt that they were affected and broke their defenses. Hucky in front of the magic mirror, the breathing of a black mage suddenly became heavy, violent flames spewed out of his air, and were inhaled by his nose again. His whole body was like a powder keg, ready to explode at any time. This is true even for those affected, let alone Li Xiaohu in the arena. As a black mage with a rough appearance and a good brother who backstabs, Li Xiaohu felt that every word in Wang Zibin's words was a satire on him. Okay. Wang Zibin, originally I wanted to leave your whole body, but now I want to torture you to death. Li Xiaohu said in an extremely ferocious voice. Even the members of the same gang who surrounded Li Xiaohu could sense Li Xiaohu's anger, and stepped back without showing any trace, leaving Li Xiaohu a bigger stage for casting spells. Wang Zibin didn't care about Li Xiaohu's harsh words, and said to himself, "Everyone, for your safety, please leave the ring. Spells are ruthless, I have feelings, if you are accidentally injured, don't blame me." After all, Wang Zibin raised his head even higher, showing a gesture of compassion. "Wow! I can't take it. I tore him. This trash, is he still pretending to be dying? If I were on the field, I would directly pierce the intestines with ice arrows." Below the ring, the eliminated black mages were full of anger, wishing to return to the ring again and fight Wang Zibin in a bloody battle. On the ring, the mages who heard Wang Zibin's words put on sarcasm smiles. They all thought that Wang Zibin was pretending at this time. But it was such a scene that made it even more difficult for them to restrain their thoughts of taking action, and they couldn't wait to kill Wang Zibin, the pretender. So they shouted at Li Xiaohu, "Hurry up, if you don't do it, I will do it. Yes, I want to kill this trash." "Waste," is already their consensus on Wang Zibin, who cannot cast spells. Hearing the urging of the black mages, Li Xiaohu could no longer hold back the thoughts in his heart, and raised his hand to release the spell, Ice Archery. In front of Li Xiaohu, in mid-air, an ice arrow quickly condensed into shape, shooting towards Wang Zibin's upper body. Originally, Li Xiaohu aimed at Wang Zibin's heart and killed him with one blow. But in order to practice his words of torturing Wang Zibin to death, Li Ziahu is going to seriously injure Wang Zibin first, and then deal with him well. After Li Ziahu released the ice arrow, the anger of the black mages was relieved immediately, as if they had seen the scene of Wang Zibin being pierced by the ice arrow. There are even smiles on their lips. Unfortunately, things backfired. When the frostbolt took shape, Wang Zibin's eyes flashed. Looking at the indifferent black mages on the ring, he sighed secretly, "Since you don't believe me, don't blame me." Persuading them to leave was already a manifestation of Wang Zibin's utmost benevolence, because the spell he was going to cast next was a spell that he could not control at present. At this moment, facing the blasting ice arrows, Wang Zibin sang in a serious manner, "My rage, you can't control it." Furious. The moment Wang Zibin put Furious into the innate spell slot, the huge mana in his body disappeared in an instant, and in return, the ground of the entire arena turned red. Incomparably violent flames spewed out from the arena and swept upwards. Boom! The berserk flames spewed out to a height of 10 meters, devouring everything on the ring. Idiom, furious, describe very angry. The spell 3 Zhangs of flame literally means that the fire that emerges is as high as 3 feet. 1 Zhang is 3.333 meters, and 3 Zhang is 10 meters. At this time, the 10-meter-high flames completely engulfed the entire arena. At this moment, everything is quiet in the venue. The black mages outside the arena looked dull, their eyes widened, and their minds went blank. Even the mage who watched the battle through the magic mirror held his breath, his face full of surprise. Third order magic wall of fire. How can it be? How can a mere tier 1 mage release tier 3 magic? Impossible, absolutely impossible. In front of the magic mirror, the black mage who spewed out tongues of fire screamed even more when he saw this scene. As an expert who dared to play with fire inside his body, he couldn't believe what he saw. If he hadn't been sure that this was the scene relayed by the magic mirror, he would have thought he was under an illusion. Not only did he not believe it, but all the black mages watching the battle couldn't believe what they saw and heard at this time. To be precise, only 2 of the black mages who saw this scene behaved slightly normal. One is the white-haired old man black mage at the top of the Tower of the Past. He touched his beard with great interest and made a rare evaluation. An interesting little guy finally came. The other one is the middle-aged black mage at the top of the current tower. He murmured thoughtfully, "Casting spells at higher levels? What kind of talent is this? Or, do you have any treasures beyond my detection?" The middle-aged black mage moved his fingers, as if he was about to make a move, but he tilted his head slightly, looked in the direction of the past tower, and finally did nothing. Newcomers and new books, please vote for flowers and comments if you like it. The author will try his best to update it. Thank you all readers. Chapter 6. The middle-aged black mage, the current tower owner of the tower, is one of the supervisors in this battle for the tower owner. Originally, he was planning to intervene in this battle, because in the battle of the First Order mages, the Third Order magic appeared, which was undoubtedly a unilateral massacre. This is equivalent to someone using missiles to carry out cover bombing in a gun battle. However, the middle-aged black mage did not make a move after all. The rules of this battle for the Tower Master are that there are no restrictions on any means. Even the middle-aged black mage is not confident in his monitoring methods, but he also believes in the methods of his teacher, the Tower Master of the past tower. In his cognition, if his teacher monitors the means outside the field, then he will definitely make a move. And if it exceeds his teacher's monitoring, then it must be reasonable. Therefore, the middle-aged black mage chose silence. "Teacher, will you make a move?" With such thoughts in mind, the middle-aged black mage silently looked at the picture in the magic mirror. On the ring, the flame burned for more than 10 seconds before disappearing. After the flames disappeared, only Wang Zibin was left standing there with his hands behind his back in the entire ring, with an unfathomable expression on his face. Hiss below the ring, all the black mages gasped, the ring was emptied, and only Wang Zibin was left. All this told them that what they saw was not an illusion, but a fact. It is a fact that Wang Zibin instantly resolved all the contenders and became the tower master of the future tower. But at this time, neither Wang Zibin nor the other black mages took any action, but were waiting. What they were waiting for was the same thing, a decision from the tower of the past and the tower of the present. Especially the black mages under the ring are full of expectations. Wang Zibin's method is powerful, but anyone with a discerning eye can see that it is beyond the level that a first-tier mage should be, and even a second-tier mage can't do it. Therefore, as long as Wang Zibin is judged to be violating the rules, those who were eliminated from the beginning will have another chance. Wang Zibin is also waiting for a decision. Although he is sure that his operation is absolutely legal and compliant, and he did not rely on forces outside the ring, there are still variables before the result comes out. Fortunately, it didn't take long before a majestic voice appeared in the sky again, under the witness of the two tower owners of the past and present towers. The battle for the tower owner is over. The tower owner of the future tower is Wang Zibin. A beam of light from top to bottom shone on Wang Zibin's body, showing that this was his highlight moment. From an ordinary first-level mage in the Mage Tower, he became the tower owner of the future tower in an instant, enjoying 1/3 of the authority of Bisque Island, which can be said to be a step up to the sky. No matter how much unwillingness there is in their hearts, at this moment, the black mages under the ring can only bow to Wang Zibin to show their respect for the tower master. Wang Zibin on the ring was not as ecstatic as he imagined, but was thinking, just now, even though he released Furious, he cleared the scene in an instant. But only a part of the goal was achieved, that is, to win the battle for the tower owner, but the other part of the goal, to get rid of his good brother Li Xiaohu, was not achieved. According to Wang Zibin's prediction, there should have been Li Xiaohu's ashes in the ring at this time. In fact, apart from him, the arena was empty. This means that when Li Xiaohu was about to die, someone rescued him and the other black mages. It's a pity, Wang Zibin thought to himself, if he failed to kill Li Xiaohu, let's cut the grass and root out. However, although Li Xiaohu was not killed, Wang Zibin knew that Li Xiaohu's life was worse than death at this time. After all, Wang Zibin gave Li Xiaohu key care after he released Furious. Even if Li Xiaohu didn't die, he had become a ready-to-cook human meat barbecue, which could be regarded as revenge. Obviously, in this battle, someone is watching secretly, and there will be no death. This is in line with the characteristics of this mage tower for cultivating newcomers. The tower of the future of the black mage? With these thoughts in mind, Wang Zibin headed to the top of the mage tower. That's where the tower master stayed. The tower of the future, the top of the tower. After Wang Zibin came, what he saw was a huge space. If compared with his previous room, his room is considered a toilet, then the top of the tower is equivalent to a presidential suite. A luxurious bedroom, a study full of books, an experimental room for testing spells. At this moment, Wang Zibin's eyes became moist. This is the treatment of a mage in his perception. After rolling a few times on the big bed in the bedroom, Wang Zibin restrained his joy and came to the study. After reading several books, Wang Zibin had a clearer understanding of the world. God is sorry, he was born in a small village in his memory, and because of his mage talent, he was brought to this island, and he learned all the knowledge of mages, and he knew nothing about the rest. Until now, Wang Zibin has a comprehensive impression of the world in his mind. This is a fantasy world. Thousands of years ago, the magical subcontinent of the elves unified the mainland and named it the Chia Continent. Thousands of years ago, the elves' kingdom was divided. The sun, moon, and star, 3 empires. Although the elves have lost their previous power, they still occupy a unique position in the Chia forest in the center of the continent. The power that makes mankind rise is not the mage, but the knight. The 3 empires of sun, moon, and star all established their countries with knights, and knights are the mainstream of human power. But this can't cover up the brilliance of mages, because the reason why knights are the mainstream is because knights don't choose talents. They can be practiced by humans, but mages are not, and they have requirements for talents. Therefore, in the human empire, mages usually have a status beyond knights. If it is another mage, it is estimated that he will be proud of his status as a mage immediately. However, Wang Zibin stared at the introduction of the cavaliers with bright eyes, who told him not to be a serious mage. For Wang Zibin, as long as his physique can keep up, the progress of his mage is absolutely beyond imagination. Therefore, after Wang Zibin knew about the existence of knight power, he started looking for books about knights in the study without saying a word. The secret history of the knights. Wang Zibin's eyes lit up, but when he opened it, it was full of novels about knights being romantic. On the difference between a knight and a mage, Wang Zibin is full of hope, but after opening it, he talks about how the mage hangs and beats the knight after opening the distance. The strongest knight. Wang Zibin was impatient, but when he opened it, it turned out to be an autobiographical novel of a knight. Chapter 7. Finally, after continuously flipping through dozens of books related to knights, Wang Zibin sat down on a chair with blank eyes. All the books here are either novels, or they hang mages and beat knights. As for how to train knights, there is no mention of it. On the contrary, books on how to practice as a mage and how to build a spell model can be said to abound and can be seen everywhere. There is no doubt that this study is definitely the study of a serious mage. However, for Wang Zibin, an unscrupulous mage, it was even more tasteless than tasteless. Probably, Wang Zibin's only gain is to know some common sense. On the same day, after meditating, Wang Zibin lay on the big soft bed and began to think about what he had gained after becoming the Tower Master. It seems that apart from some common sense and changing the environment, he didn't gain any big gains. As for the precious knowledge of spells in the study that made other mages ecstatic, to Wang Zibin, even toilet paper was inferior. Alas, is this the tower owner's trouble? With this in mind, Wang Zibin fell into a deep sleep. The next day, when Wang Zibin continued to rummage through books about night power without giving up, he suddenly heard a knock on the door. Boom! Wang Zibin put down the books in his hand with a puzzled expression, and went to the door of the room. To be honest, although he has only been the Tower Master for a day, he also knows that under normal circumstances, in the Mage Tower, unless the Tower Master summons him, under normal circumstances, no one would dare to take the initiative to bother him. After opening the door, Wang Zibin was even more puzzled when he saw the apprentice mage standing in front of the door with his head bowed. "What's the matter with you?" Wang Zibin did not put on the airs of the tower owner, and asked in a slightly friendly manner. "Master Tower Master, I have something to trouble you." The gentle and melodious voice of the mage apprentice made Wang Zibin smile more gently. "Okay, then come in and tell me about your business." After entering the room, Wang Zibin took a look at the mage apprentice. His pretty facial features and melodious voice made people feel good about him. As if sensing Wang Zibin's scrutiny, the mage apprentice raised his head slightly, making it easier for Wang Zibin to look at him. Lonely men and widows live in the same room. Suddenly, an ambiguous atmosphere appeared in the room. The pretty face of the mage apprentice quickly turned red, very attractive. Noticing something was wrong, Wang Zibin gave a dry cough and said, trying to cover it up, "Tell me, what's your business?" Hearing this, the mage apprentice hesitated for a moment, but did not speak, but immediately untied his apprentice uniform. "My God, how many times have you practiced to solve it so quickly?" When Wang Zibin was shocked by the speed with which the mage apprentice undressed, a black and white body appeared in front of his eyes. The white one was naturally the skin of a sorcerer's apprentice, so dazzlingly white that it almost blinded Wang Zibin's eyes. The black one is a centipede tattoo on the body of the mage apprentice. It is nearly half a meter long and twisted from the chest to the buttocks. It is so black that it almost makes Wang Zibin's heart jump out of fear. "Master Tower Master, please enjoy my body." The original melodious voice of the sorcerer's apprentice now sounds like the words of a demon to Wang Zibin, bringing great fear. So Wang Zibin turned around quickly, trying his best to maintain his image as the tower owner, waved his hands, and sighed helplessly, "Get out, I'm not such a person." If you are careful, it is not difficult to find that Wang Zibin's words have vibrato. Fortunately, the mage apprentice didn't notice, but put on his clothes without saying a word, and left the room with a disappointed face. It is obvious that this female mage apprentice is preparing to sacrifice her body to rely on Wang Zibin, the new tower master. After the mage apprentice left, Wang Zibin turned back with a pale face. God knows what kind of psychological impact that half-meter-long black centipede on the female apprentice brought to Wang Zibin's mind, and he still has lingering fears when he recalls it. To be reasonable, Wang Zibin naturally knew that this was a test for his new tower master. Originally, what Wang Zibin was waiting for was a test of an old driver driving a dirty train, but he did not expect it to be such a test of half-human, half-centipede. That centipede, Wang Zibin knows, is a routine operation of black mage apprentices. If you find that your talent is not enough to challenge a formal mage, or if you feel that your cultivation speed is too slow, the black mage apprentice will increase your cultivation speed by incorporating monsters into your body. Indeed, perhaps for other black mages, such an image is not only full of charm, but at least it feels very cordial. But for Wang Zibin, such an image is tantamount to a shock. Faced with such a test, as the new tower master, Wang Zibin just wants to shout, "Just use this to test the tower master." Which tower master can't stand such a test? Well, at least Wang Zibin withstood it, and said that he would be able to withstand it 1,000 times. At night, after the meditation, Wang Zibin tossed and turned in bed. After a period of time, I repeatedly recalled Wang Zibin who was tested during the day, and then recalled the other people in the mage tower. After confirming that they were not the same as today's mage apprentices, I finally couldn't bear it anymore. I turned over and faced the magic mirror in the room. Loudly said, "Magic mirror, prohibit all personnel in this mage tower from actively entering the top floor of the mage tower." The magic mirror, the entire island is similar to the existence of the intelligence center, and it exists in every official mage's room, but it has different permissions according to the different status. As the tower owner, Wang Zibin naturally has the highest authority in this mage tower. Therefore, the magic mirror responded immediately, "As you wish, my respected tower master." After receiving the answer from the magic mirror, Wang Zibin felt at ease, and after confirming that he would not undergo similar tests again, he fell asleep. In the next few days, there were many people who had the same idea as the sorcerer's female apprentice, who were going to look for Wang Zibin, but they were all blocked by the magic mirror. 10 days later, when Wang Zibin thought that the days would pass by in such a peaceful way, an unexpected guest came to the top floor. This is a white-haired old black mage who belongs to other mage towers and is not in the sequence blocked by the magic mirror. "Dear Tower Master, you have guests from the Tower of the Past." In the voice of the magic mirror, Wang Zibin welcomed the white-haired old black mage into the room. Although it is impossible for Wang Zibin to know that this white-haired old man and black mage is the owner of the top floor of the past tower, that is, the tower owner of the past tower, but the status of the mage in the past tower alone deserves Wang Zibin's respect. Chapter 8. The Tower of the Future where Wang Zibin is located accommodates 1 to 3 level mages, so according to inference, even if he doesn't know the situation of other mage towers, he can guess that they are at least high level 3 mages. The 1 to 3 ranks of mages are called ordinary mages, the 4 to 6 ranks are archmages, and the 7 to 9 ranks are magisters. Therefore, it is necessary for Wang Zibin to show his respect to the archmage who surpassed him by at least 2 ranks. The white-haired old man, Master Black, was very satisfied with Wang Zibin's attitude, and revealed a lot of information during the conversation. After talking for more than half an hour, Wang Zibin, who sent off the white-haired old man and the black mage, touched his forehead, sweating coldly. According to the information from the white-haired old man Black Master, Wang Zibin felt that the handsome man himself was in a very dangerous situation, as the tower owner of the future tower. According to the usual practice, he needs to visit the tower owner of the current tower within 1 month of taking office. Visiting, originally this is a very normal thing, but the white-haired old man, the black mage, told Wang Zibin that as far as he knew, the male tower owner seemed to have some peculiar hobbies. For example, almost all the people who come in and out of the top of the Tower of Existence are men. For example, in the current tower, most of the people receiving extra care are handsome men. "You are handsome," he likes it very much. Especially the meaningful words of the white-haired old man, the black mage, before he left, made Wang Zibin break out in a cold sweat. The words of the white-haired old man, the black mage, are undoubtedly telling Wang Zibin that the current owner of the tower is a good friend who likes fencing. For the handsome Wang Zibin, this is tantamount to a big bad news. Especially when Wang Zibin had to visit this good friend, it was even more terrifying. Drenched in cold sweat, Wang Zibin sat on the seat with cold hands and feet, and began to frantically search for countermeasures. In fact, according to the thinking of normal people, it is impossible to be sure of the words of a stranger who meets for the first time. However, the current Wang Zibin not only does not think about the authenticity of these words, but instead thinks completely according to the information in the words. This shows that there is definitely something wrong with the white-haired old man and the black mage. The black mage, the white-haired old man who walked out of the Tower of the Future, outlined a controlled smile at the corner of his mouth. But this smile was fleeting, because a middle-aged black mage came to him. This middle-aged black mage is the tower owner of the current tower. The middle-aged black mage came to the white-haired old man black mage, bowed slightly and said, "Hello, good day, teacher." Sensing the fluctuation of spells remaining on the white-haired old black mage, the middle-aged black mage said helplessly, "Teacher, what script did you arrange this time?" Hearing this, the white-haired old man black mage immediately denied, "Don't talk nonsense, it's impossible, I'm not that kind of person." After finishing speaking, the white-haired old man, the black mage, stepped forward, and disappeared in front of the middle-aged black mage in an instant, as if traveling through space. Seeing the white-haired old black mage running away with a guilty conscience, the middle-aged black mage was even more helpless. If he hadn't sensed the undissipated spiritual suggestion spell fluctuation on the teacher, maybe he really couldn't refute it. Spiritual suggestion, a high-level spell, which can make people believe in the words and deeds of the caster. Speaking of which, the middle-aged black mage was once a victim of this spell, so he knows what his teacher did. The white-haired old black mage will use spiritual hints to arrange scripts for low-level mages through words. If the middle-aged mage knew Wang Zibin's state at this time, he would know that the white-haired old black mage arranged for Wang Zibin a script to practice hard and protect himself under the pressure of his good friend. If the normal situation is followed, perhaps Wang Zibin will really follow such a script. However, as an unscrupulous mage, Wang Zibin didn't follow the script at all after thinking hard. Tower of the Future, 1 floor. Wang Zibin was in his former room, holding a big shovel, digging the soil hard. If he were not the tower owner now, he would definitely be arrested and held accountable for destroying the Mage Tower. But, as the tower owner, he can do whatever he wants in the Mage Tower now. From the day when the white-haired old Black Master arranged the script for Wang Zibin replaced his daily exercise with digging in the room. Eat, meditate, dig, sleep. These constitute the whole life of the master of Wang Zibin Pagoda. Time flies, and in a blink of an eye, the deadline for Wang Zibin to visit the current tower master is approaching. Tomorrow is the last day of the deadline. Wang Zibin stood on the top of the Mage Tower, condescendingly watching the scenery of the island. I have to say that the scenery from this perspective is really good, but Wang Zibin didn't pay attention to it before. This is the first time Wang Zibin looks at the scenery like this, and it is probably the last time. That's right, in order to protect himself, Wang Zibin has decided to run away. Wang Zibin can't stay on this island anymore. Not to mention the lack of knowledge on how to cultivate the strength of a knight, and now there are still people coveting his body. How can this make Wang Zibin grow up with peace of mind? Originally, Wang Zibin wanted to develop a wave slowly, and then surprise everyone like his handsome face. Unexpectedly, the plan couldn't keep up with the changes, and an archmage far surpassing his strength would turn out to be a good friend. Moreover, Wang Zibin also had to visit him. Looking at his handsome face reflected in the magic mirror, Wang Zibin felt that if he went, he must be a sheep in the mouth of a tiger, and he would never return. Therefore, it is absolutely impossible for Wang Zibin to go. If you don't go, the only way left is to leave. Theoretically speaking, it is impossible for Wang Zibin to leave this island. After all, the sea is full of sea beasts. Wang Zibin, who has small arms and legs, accidentally gave a tooth sacrifice to the sea beasts. Fortunately, Shanren has his own clever plan, and Wang Zibin, who is about to run away, has made a perfect plan. The first step in the running plan is to eat. As the saying goes, people are iron, food is steel. In order to run, you must first let your physical strength be full. After finishing the meal, the energetic Wang Zibin left the top of the Mage Tower and came to his former room. At this time, a small well appeared in the center of this cramped room. Looking at the small well dug by himself, Wang Zibin remained silent. The second step of the running plan is camouflage. The silent Wang Zibin glanced around his room reluctantly, then took off his mage robe and changed into ordinary casual clothes. Wang Zibin changed from a noble mage to a commoner after completing the costume change. In this way, no matter where Wang Zibin goes, he will not look obtrusive, at least it is much more normal than his original black mage outfit. Chapter 9:18 That year, leaving home. The last step of the running plan is to leave. Wang Zibin, who finished changing his costume, went straight to Xiaojing and squatted down with his back to Xiaojing. At the mouth of the small well, there are two semi-rings with strange shapes, like straps. Wang Zibin put his hands through the half-ring, making a shape like carrying Xiaojing on his back. Then, he took a last look at Wang Zibin in the room, took a deep breath, and closed his eyes. In his mind, Wang Zibin took off the multiplier from the talent slot and replaced it with a new spell, leaving home. Leaving home after loading, the mana in Wang Zibin's body was instantly emptied. Accompanied by a strange wave, Wang Zibin disappeared into the room in an instant. Idiom, leaving home, it means leaving home to go to another place. Spell leaving home, space-based magic, leaving home with a well on your back, and teleporting in a certain direction. Note, the precondition of this spell is to be behind the well, and the teleportation location cannot be determined. The moment Wang Zibin disappeared, the white-haired old black mage on the top floor of the Tower of the Past frowned, space magic. Immediately, he was ready to follow the remaining spatial magic fluctuations to investigate. But the white-haired old man, the black mage, only took half a step, then retreated, gave up the pursuit, and said to the magic mirror, "Play back the screen of this space magic." In the next second, the whole picture of Wang Zibin walking into the room, changing clothes, coming to the small well and activating leaving home appeared in the magic mirror. So you left on your own initiative? Interesting little guy. The white-haired old man Black Mage stroked his beard and said to himself, forget it, since you don't like the script I arranged, then go chase your dreams. Anyway, as long as you say the name of Bisque Island, no big force should move you. After finishing speaking, the white-haired old man Black Mage shook his head, turned and entered a laboratory. In the laboratory, a 16-winged angel was being suspended in mid-air, and the spell chains passed through the angel's body, causing him torment. The 16-winged angel, equivalent to the existence of an 8th-order magister, was imprisoned here directly. As soon as the angel saw the white-haired old man and the Black Mage walking in, he immediately cried out full of fear, "My lord! Please spare me, I really didn't know that was your disciple. Forgive me, I am willing to be your servant." The white-haired old man Black Mage looked at the begging angel indifferently, and said coldly, "Forgive you? Why didn't you want to spare him when you shot at my third-rank disciple?" It turned out that the dead predecessor, the future Tower Master, died at the hands of this 16-winged angel. Hearing the words of the white-haired old man, the Black Mage, the angel who realized that the begging for mercy was ineffective, changed his face, and said fiercely, "I'm an angel, if you kill me, you, and even the entire island, will be bloodbathed by the angel clan." Ha 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 ha! The white-haired old man Black Mage immediately let out a big laugh. "Don't say it's you, your king dare not say this to me." After all, the white-haired old man Black Mage waved his hand and sealed the angel's body, preventing him from opening his mouth. Obviously, the white-haired old man, the Black Mage, didn't want to talk nonsense with the angel, but picked up the knife, and began to dissect his body under the angel's terrified eyes. For the white-haired old Black Mage, killing the angel directly was a gift to him. If Wang Zibin sees all of this here, his eyes will be filled with golden light. Isn't this super thighs? And it's extremely short-sighted. However, Wang Zibin, who has left Basque Island, is destined to miss something. Halfway through the dissection, the white-haired old man, the Black Mage, suddenly paused, and murmured to himself inexplicably, "Hey? I seem to have forgotten something." After thinking to no avail, he finally shook his head and focused on torturing. Oh no, it was the dissecting angel. If the middle-aged Black Mage were here, he would definitely point out, "Teacher, you didn't tell Wang Zibin that we are really good." Indeed, although in the mind of the white-haired old man and the Black Mage, after Wang Zibin left, he could rely on his identity of being from Bisque Island outside, not to mention running amok, but he could not be bullied. But in fact, Wang Zibin didn't know from the beginning to the end, the true strength of Bisque Island where he was, let alone the identity of his future Tower Master, which has a place at the top level of the world. After completing the dissection, the white-haired old man, the Black Mage, stepped forward and came to another room through space magic. In the room, lying there was Li Ziahu, who was almost burnt to death by Wang Zibin. He is now covered in burns and barely human. Looking at Li Ziahu, the white-haired old man Hey Mage flashed his eyes and arranged a new script. "Did you succeed in revenge or become a stepping stone? This is really an interesting thing." From the practice of the white-haired old man Black Mage, it is not difficult to see that his idea is to arrange everyone's script, and finally wait for the performance, that is, the result. This is the unscrupulous Black Mage who pays attention to results. 18 years ago, I left my hometown. The fertile plain, the borderland of the Starry Empire, and the White Star City. 100 miles away from White Star City, the burly Dean twisted off the head of the last robber with a gloomy expression. Beside Dean, lay the corpses of a dozen robbers, all of whom were obviously made by Dean. After killing the group of robbers, Dean still looked bad. Today was the day when he came to pick up his nephew outside the city. He never expected that his nephew would be killed by these bandits, disrupting his plan. Of course, the so-called nephew is just a means to cover up Dean's identity. Dean, as a pawn placed by the Haori Empire in Baixing City, just needs the existence of a nephew to cover up his special behavior of living alone for many years and reduce attention. It's a pity that when this nephew was about to arrive in Baixing City, he was murdered by robbers blocking the way. Idiot, don't take the big road, why take the small road? After Dean scolded the nephew who died in the distance, he got on his horse helplessly and rushed to Baixing City. The matter has already happened, he is going to return to White Star City first, and then take other methods to cover up his identity. But after only a few miles, Dean stopped the horse because he saw a teenager lying on the side of the road. Dean looked around, then came to the boy and checked, clothes of common people, no trace of cultivation strength, weak body. No matter how Dean looked at it, he felt that this was his new nephew. Without any hesitation, Dean put the boy on the horse and continued towards White Star City. Chapter 10. When Wang Zibin woke up from the bed weakly, he immediately realized that the leaving homeland he activated was still a bit forced after all. Not only emptied his mana, but also drained his physical strength, making him weak. Fortunately, after seeing the room where he was, Wang Zibin confirmed that he had successfully left Beskar Island. Wang Zibin was delighted to have protected his body. But where is this? A new environment put Wang Zibin on alert again. At this moment, the door was pushed open, and a burly Dean walked in with a bowl of porridge. After seeing Wang Zibin sober, Dean said loudly with joy on his face, "My good nephew, you finally woke up?" Immediately, Wang Zibin was stunned. To be reasonable, he is just weak, not amnesia. Where does uncle come from? Dean didn't care about Wang Zibin's doubts, and said to himself, "My good nephew, when you came to seek refuge with my uncle, you passed out on the road. Fortunately, my uncle brought you back. Your parents entrusted you to me before they died. Uncle, I will definitely take good care of you." Wang Zibin watched Dean come in with a dazed face, and watched him go out with a dazed face. His words echoed in his mind. "Others are Zidang's father, but I am Zidang's nephew. An extra cheap uncle for no reason. No, not right." After Wang Zibin thought about Dean's words carefully, he found something wrong. Both parents died, and he went to his uncle. In the case of Uncle Cheap, isn't it that a new identity has been arranged for him? Originally, Wang Zibin didn't know what identity to start a new life with. After all, the identity of the original Black Mage must not be used anymore. But now, wouldn't it be great to have a new identity right away? Of course, Wang Zibin didn't need to think about it to know that this cheap uncle who arranged his status for him must have a conspiracy. However, Wang Zibin said that when soldiers come, they will be blocked, but when water comes, soil will cover them. As long as it's not the kind that plots against his body and makes him unable to resist, then it's fine. So, Wang Zibin claimed his new identity, adding a cheap uncle. 2 days later, Wang Zibin recovered well, started free activities, and learned about his environment. This is one of the 3 great empires of mankind, the border city of the Starry Empire, Baxing City. White Star City is a standard human city. There are Knight Academy and Mage Academy. The tallest building in the city is a White Mage Tower. It is said that its owner is a 7th Order Magister. Because it is a border city, Baxing City has a military and political integration, and the city lord is not only the leader of the army but also the highest authority. Uncle Cheap's name is Dean, and he is a blacksmith in Baxing City. Dean even signed up Wang Zibin as a transfer student from the Knight Academy, and he will go to school after 10 days. After learning that he was going to school, Wang Zibin became more and more aware of his role as a tool man. The existence of the nephew means that Dean has relatives and goes to school to support Wang Zibin and get more free time. From all aspects, Wang Zibin is like a tool man. However, Wang Zibin readily accepted his status as a tool man. Without him, it is because he can go to the Knight Academy. Wang Zibin has been longing for the Cavalier's training methods for a long time, and Dean's arrangement is exactly what he wants. In this way, Wang Zibin happily came to the gate of the Knight Academy. Because knights belong to one of the fundamental strengths of human beings, and they can practice regardless of their talents, there are many Knight Academies, and they are always welcome. Therefore, even if Wang Zibin is a midway transfer, there is no problem. It is worth mentioning that there are high and low Knight Academies, and Wang Zibin is going to enter the most commoner Knight Academies. In front of the gate of the civilian Knight Academy, the handsome Wang Zibin attracted the attention of many people. Even the civilian clothes on his body can't conceal his unique temperament. The students who come and go, without exception, are very concerned about Wang Zibin. Especially the fiery eyes of the female students, wishing they could burn Wang Zibin's clothes and see more things. But the male students' gaze was not so friendly, full of envy and jealousy. Under these gazes, Wang Zibin remained calm, quietly waiting for the teacher that Uncle Cheap said to come to pick him up. Not long after, when the wide college gate was about to cause a traffic jam due to the presence of Wang Zibin alone, a knight in armor trotted over and immediately took Wang Zibin away. After Wang Zibin left, the gate of the college quickly resumed normal traffic, and the tortoise-like footsteps of some female students also became strides. In the academy, the armored knight Peg looked at Wang Zibin, frowned and said, "You are Dean's nephew? You look good, but your body is too weak. You have to know that looks can't help you block the enemy's long sword. Due to his excellent mental strength as a mage, Wang Zibin could detect the jealousy and aggression in the words of the knight in front of him. But Wang Zibin still chose to forgive him generously, because Peg is an official knight, and under the premise of not using the power of a mage, 10 Wang Zibins are not enough for him to fight with one hand. So Wang Zibin nodded, indicating that Peg was right. Seeing this, Peg could only give up some small thoughts in his heart, and chose to bring Wang Zibin to a class that was in class. In the afternoon, after studying and the enthusiastic help of some female students, Wang Zibin had a deeper understanding of the knights. Knights, like mages, are divided into 3 classes: a pure blood knight, a knight who taps the potential of the human body itself. Bloodline knights, knights who obtain corresponding abilities by accommodating the bloodlines of monsters. Warcraft knights, also known as contract knights, are knights who obtain the power of monsters by signing contracts with monsters. The Starry Empire is famous for its blood knights. It is rumored that the royal family of the empire has a special secret technique that can accommodate a variety of monster blood. However, for civilians, there is only one way for pure blood knights to go. As for why, don't ask, asking is poor. Both the bloodline of the monster and the monster are valuable things, which are far from what ordinary people can expect. Knights are also divided into ranks 1 to 9, of which 1 to 3 are called Earth Knights, 4 to 6 are called Sky Knights, and 7 to 9 are Title Knights. The Lord of Baxing City is the 7th rank knight titled Baxing. That's right, White Star City is his fiefdom. As for the knight's training method, it is to temper the body with the help of secret medicine. And the secret medicine is the core factor that distinguishes each knight academy from high to low. The more advanced the knight academy, the better the secret medicine it possesses, the better it will be for the knight's cultivation assistance. Chapter 11. The civilian academy where Wang Zibin is located naturally possesses ordinary secret medicines. But there are also general benefits in general, that is, it is cheap. Anyway, for the current Wang Zibin, there is no room for choice. On the same day, after finishing his study, Wang Zibin returned to his dormitory after eating in the cafeteria. Students at Rider Academy can choose to study as a day student or as a boarder. Dean naturally chose to board for Wang Zibin, and he called it a better way to practice knights. In this regard, Wang Zibin has no right to choose. But after returning to the dormitory, Wang Zibin expressed his satisfaction, because this is not a dormitory for multiple people, but a single dormitory. After closing the dormitory door, Wang Zibin immediately came to the bed to meditate. These days, in order not to reveal his identity as a sorcerer, Wang Zibin has never meditated, so the mana in his body grows slowly. During meditation, Wang Zibin felt his growth rate 20 times that of ordinary mages, and his heart slowly calmed down. Only the growth of strength will be reassuring. The next day, Wang Zibin finally officially started the training of knight strength. Under the guidance of the formal knights, Wang Zibin and a group of civilian students started various exercises after taking the secret medicine. That's right, exercise. Exercises like running, squats, push-ups, etc. The function of these exercises is to exercise the body, so that the body can better absorb the secret medicine. After a day of practice, Wang Zibin came to a conclusion: the reason why the civilian knight academy is poor is because there is no level of teaching at all except for the secret medicine. Take their exercise as an example, they actually used simple exercises to speed up the absorption of the secret medicine, rather than the accompanying movements. Wang Zibin can't believe that there are no better movements to provide more efficient exercise. But if you know, you know, Wang Zibin himself has no way to change. After all, his identity and environment determine that he can only accept it passively. Reasonably speaking, Wang Zibin felt that anyone who knew a little about fitness would probably be better than those taught by the formal knights in the academy. It's a pity that Wang Zibin doesn't understand it, so he can only speed up the absorption of the secret medicine through exercise. As for actively researching and trying something, Wang Zibin didn't want to take the risk. After all, in the final analysis, he is a mage. Even if he is practicing as a knight in the Knight Academy, it cannot change the fact that he is a mage. Knights, after all, are only the help of Master Wang Zibin on the road of practice. Therefore, it is impossible for Wang Zibin to spend a lot of effort on researching these things, even if he does, he probably won't find anything. Compared to groping for the path that the predecessors walked, Wang Zibin feels that he might as well eat a soft meal. In just a few days after entering the academy, the female students of the Noble Knight Academy not far away have already known of Wang Zibin's handsomeness. Therefore, in the past few days, 2 students from the Noble Knight Academy have hinted that they want to support Wang Zibin, promising better secret medicines and supporting actions from the Noble Knight Academy. To be honest, if it weren't for Wang Zibin's firm will, it would be difficult to refuse such a temptation. Well, it would be even better if it weren't for these 2 female students with big arms. Meanwhile, Wang Zibin also found himself in an awkward situation in the academy, because he was a member of the class, and because his temperament and appearance were out of tune with ordinary people, male students secretly excluded him. In the past few days, Wang Zibin has no male students besides female students. Fortunately, Wang Zibin is very open-minded. If you don't have friends, you don't have them. Anyway, he came to practice night training. However, things are not as simple as Wang Zibin thought. Being isolated, he has already aroused the jealousy of many male students. "Hey, you kid is very arrogant." An extremely obese male student came to Wang Zibin, who was exercising, and spoke provocatively. Wang Zibin looked at this unknown male student in surprise. "Are you brave enough to say this? Come to find trouble and the villain will file a complaint first." Wang Zibin has no intention of responding to such people who find fault for no reason, and continues to exercise on his own. The obese male student was immediately enraged by Wang Zibin's attitude, and said harshly, "Very good, I hope you won't kneel down and beg me in the next night ranking match." After uttering harsh words, he turned around and left. If it wasn't for the fact that fighting is not allowed in the academy, he probably would have made a move long ago. After all, he was here to find fault. Not long after he left, the female student who was secretly watching Wang Zibin came over and said worriedly, "How did you provoke him?" In the words of the female student, Wang Zibin knew the information about this extremely obese male student. His name is Peggy, and he is the school bully of this civilian knight academy, currently the closest student to a formal knight in the academy. The reason for her abnormal obesity is that Peggy has the blood of a pig monster. In other words, Peggy's starting point is much higher than others. At the same time, Peggy, the official knight who brought Wang Zibin into the academy last time, is also Peggy's uncle. There are people above, coupled with her own strength, in this civilian knight academy, Peggy can be said to be rampant. The reason why Peggy came to trouble Wang Zibin was because he felt Wang Zibin's threat to his status. For example, those 2 female students of the Noble Knight Academy who came to Wang Zibin, as long as Wang Zibin agreed to any one of them, then he would rise in an instant, and he could become the new overlord of the academy by taking advantage of the situation. Compared with Peggy's clumsy provocation, Wang Zibin paid more attention to what he said was the night ranking match. After the female trainee finished Peggy's message, Wang Zibin asked, "What is a night ranking competition?" The night ranking tournament is a large-scale event that faces all the night academies in the entire city. Every student must participate. The higher the ranking, the higher the rewards you can get. The ranking of students is also related to the allocation of resources for the Knight Academy. Although our college is basically the last few every year, as long as some students get a better ranking, it can bring great benefits to the college. By the way, you asked this, is Peggy going to shoot you in the night ranking match? Then you must be careful. Every year in the night ranking competition, there will be injuries and injuries. Last year, a student even died. Or, you'd better apologize to Peggy. You can't beat him. While introducing the night ranking competition, the female student persuaded Wang Zibin, showing concern for him. Wang Zibin sent off the female students non-committally, without expressing his attitude towards Peggy. After watching the female student who turned her head 3 times away, Wang Zibin's eyes flashed coldness. Apologize? How can it be? He, Wang Zibin, is a black mage. At the beginning, he was able to mercilessly let the flames devour his good brother Li Xiaohu and other black mages, which meant that Wang Zibin was not a saint. To the enemy, Wang Zibin is absolutely ruthless. The blood of a pig monster? But whenever he was in the wild, Wang Zibin would roast him with a backhanded fire spell. Chapter 12. At night, Wang Zibin, who felt that the growth of mana in his body had hit a bottleneck, stopped meditating. Today, it has been less than half a year since Wang Zibin became a first-order mage. For any mage, such speed seems exaggerated. But even so, although the speed of progress is exaggerated, it is also reasonable. After all, Wang Zibin's own talent is very powerful. Not to mention that in the past few months, through the blessing of doing more with less, Wang Zibin has practiced at a speed nearly 20 times faster, and it is only natural that he has achieved the current results. However, for mages, the speed of cultivation is not a problem. After all, it can be compensated by means such as symbiosis with monsters. The real tricky thing is to break through after encountering a bottleneck. For example, now, Wang Zibin is frowning. Is my mage talent so bad? How did you encounter a bottleneck so quickly? Generally speaking, the real bottleneck for ordinary mages is when they reach the 4th level at the 3rd level, while some talented mages will even appear at the 6th level and the 7th level. Like Wang Zibin, someone who hits the bottleneck at the 2nd level after the 1st level is definitely considered a low-talented existence. Of course, even counting Wang Zibin's 10 times the mana talent, it can only improve the evaluation a little at most. Because for mages, rank is fundamental. No matter how fast Wang Zibin cultivates, it is useless if he encounters a bottleneck and cannot overcome it. After feeling his own rubbish mage talent, Wang Zibin confirmed that under normal circumstances, the path of a mage of level 1 to 3 is enough for him to walk for a lifetime. However, Wang Zibin, who has a golden finger, will naturally not let this happen. Wang Zibin calmed down and carefully recalled the civilization of the flower growers in his mind. Advance by leaps and bounds, 1,000 miles a day, unabated, changing with each passing day. A series of idioms that condensed the culture of flower growers flashed in Wang Zibin's mind. After screening and elimination, combined with his own actual situation, Wang Zibin determined the spell he was going to load. Wang Zibin first removed multiplier with half the effort from the talent spell slot, and then replaced it with increase with each passing day. Idiom, increasing day by day, growing day by day with time. Spell increasing with each passing day, make something grow over time. Faced with the bottleneck of not being able to continue to increase his mana, do more with less is obviously not enough to help Wang Zibin break through. But increasing with each passing day can help Wang Zibin break through. Because the effect of increasing with each passing day is to increase with time, and to break through the bottleneck, exactly what is needed is such an increase. The so-called breakthrough is to exceed the original limit, even if it is only a little bit, that is also a breakthrough. Therefore, Wang Zibin chose increase with each passing day, and because of Wang Zibin's current physique, he could only support the consumption of increase with each passing day. After loading increasing with each passing day, without hesitation, Wang Zibin started to meditate again. 1 minute. 10 minutes. 1 hour. Finally, with the passage of time, a trace of newly added mana appeared in Wang Zibin's body, and the original bottleneck of Wang Zibin was instantly broken with the appearance of this trace of mana. When the bottleneck was broken, Wang Zibin's mana talent was immediately revealed, and his mana value began to skyrocket. Under such circumstances, Wang Zibin endured the joy of breaking through to the 2nd-tier mage, and maintained a state of meditation, which not only strengthened the 2nd-tier mage, but also did not waste any time. Wang Zibin did not exit the state of meditation until the meditation time reached the upper limit. Sitting on the bed, Wang Zibin opened his eyes, with a slight smile on his face. Now he is already a tier 2 mage. According to the information Wang Zibin has heard these days, in the human empire, a 2nd-tier mage is enough to obtain the status of a nobleman. In other words, as long as Wang Zibin authenticates his 2nd-tier mage strength now, he will immediately be able to obtain the noble status granted by the Starry Empire. Even if it is only the lowest rank of nobleman, Wang Zibin can get the corresponding treatment. At the very least, being respected by everyone is affirmative. This means that Wang Zibin can change from a commoner status to a master in an instant. However, it is impossible for Wang Zibin to go for certification, or at least not now. Now for Wang Zibin, the key is to practice the night. As for the status of nobility and being respected by others, it would not be too late to obtain it after Wang Zibin became stronger. After experiencing the feeling of a 2nd-tier mage for a while, Wang Zibin focused on his own improvement. After becoming a 2nd-tier mage, the sudden increase in mana is certainly one aspect, but the newly added talent spell slot is even more gratifying. For the newly added talent spell slot, Wang Zibin has already made a good idea, and he is going to use this talent spell slot to train knights. On weekdays, in order to maintain the mage's practice, Wang Zibin will always put do more with less in the talent spell slot in non-combat situations, so that he can increase his mana even if he does not meditate. Now, with the 2nd innate spell slot, Wang Zibin can maintain the increase in mana and at the same time take into account the knight's training. Only by greatly reducing the consumption of innate spell slots can Wang Zibin take care of both at the same time. If it weren't for the existence of innate spell slots, it is estimated that Wang Zibin would not be able to persist for long. The question facing Wang Zibin at present is what kind of spells can be loaded so that he can better practice as a knight. Subconsciously, Wang Zibin was ready to load thousands of miles in a day into the talent spell slot. But the sudden sense of danger made Wang Zibin realize the reality. Even if he reaches the second level mage, even if he is a talent spell slot, it is still not enough for him to load thousands of miles in a day. In the end, Wang Zibin chose a spell accumulate over time that could afford consumption. Idiom: accumulate over a long period of time, describe accumulation over a long period of time, referring to continuous accumulation day by day. Spell day and moon accumulation, through the accumulation of the sun and the moon, in order to obtain growth. After loading daily accumulation, Wang Zibin can feel that as long as he persists in the cultivation of knight strength, the daily cultivation results will be accumulated. These accumulated fruits will bring about continuous growth in the physical aspect. Of course, the maintenance of accumulated over time also consumes, and what is consumed is the mana in Wang Zibin's body, and it is not a lot. Fortunately, Wang Zibin is already a tier 2 mage, so maintaining such a consumption will not have a great impact on him. At most, it will not be able to provide full mana when an emergency occurs. But this is not a problem, because Wang Zibin is in the academy, which is very safe. With the accumulated over time bonus, Wang Zibin has inexplicable expectations for the upcoming knight ranking competition. Peggy? Kneel down and beg you? Hee. Chapter 13 First Order Earth Knights. In the following days, Peggy would run up to Wang Zibin from time to time and say some harsh words. I'm going to break all your bones in the knight ranking competition. I want you to kneel down and beg me. Be afraid, be afraid. Wang Zibin could tell at a glance that Peggy's actions were intended to put enormous psychological pressure on him. If it is other students, even if they do not succumb to Peggy's despotic power, they will fall into a situation where they cannot concentrate on cultivation due to pressure. But Wang Zibin was different. Every harsh word of Peggy was secretly recorded in the small notebook in his heart. You like to talk harshly, don't you? You like finding fault, don't you? At that time, I will definitely give you a big surprise. Thinking like this, Wang Zibin never stopped cultivating knight power for a moment. In this way, the time came to the day before the Cavaliers ranking competition. On this day, all the students were gathered together, and the official knight teacher preached the rules of the knight ranking competition. The knight ranking tournament is divided into two parts. The first part is a ranking competition within the major knight academies to determine the ranking within the academies. The second part is to determine the members who will participate in the citywide knight ranking competition based on the ranking of the knight academy, and determine the ranking of the academy knights in the entire White Star City. For example, the civilian knight academy where Wang Zibin is located can enter the second part due to the low ranking of the academy, and there are only 10 places to participate in the city's knight ranking. In other words, only the 10 strongest students in the academy can truly participate in the knight ranking competition to obtain rewards. The Knight Academy, which ranks at the forefront, has as many as hundreds of places to participate. This may seem unfair, but it is in line with the actual situation. After all, compared to the status quo that it is difficult to have a formal knight in the commoner knight academy until graduation, it is true that there are many students who have become official knights in the top-ranked knight academy. It is no exaggeration to say that many students in the top-ranked knight academy have the power to sweep the entire civilian knight academy. Therefore, even if the civilian knight academy has more places, it will have no effect. After preaching the rules of the knight ranking competition, the knight teacher started the routine mobilization again. What about hard work, what about a bright future, and so on. The freshmen of the college were excited when they heard it. And the old students who have participated in the knight ranking competition have bored expressions on their faces. Those who have experienced it personally know that even if they have obtained the official quota through untold hardships, they will not be the all-in-one enemy of other college students. As a knight apprentice, it is a kind of despair to fight against a formal knight. They are destined to be just background boards for other students. Even Peggy, who is recognized as the strongest student in the academy, who has the blood of a pig monster, is only thinking about how to torture Wang Zibin at the moment, rather than competing for a higher ranking. Inside the academy, Peggy can be described as arrogant and domineering, as fierce as a tiger, but once he is asked to fight those powerful students, he will scream like a pig in an instant. Let's put it this way, he is as fierce as a tiger at home, and like a pig at the outside, and he is talking about Peggy. Perhaps among all the students present, except for the newcomers who didn't know the power gap, only Wang Zibin was seriously thinking about how to climb the rankings. After these days of understanding, Wang Zibin knows that the ranking of the Cavaliers ranking tournament is really important. As far as he is currently a student of the Commoner Knight Academy, as long as his ranking is high enough, he can be directly admitted to a better Knight Academy. What comes with it is better secret medicine, matching exercises, and faster efficiency improvement. These are full of temptations for Wang Zibin. But in order to obtain these, strong power is essential. That is to say, at least one must have the power of a formal knight in order to truly participate in the knight ranking competition. After finishing the presentation of the knight ranking competition, the knight teacher let the students move freely to prepare for the ranking competition starting tomorrow. Wang Zibin declined the invitation of many female students to go out, and went straight to his dormitory. However, Peggy blocked Wang Zibin's way, and said viciously, "Enjoy your last night well, maybe tomorrow, you won't be able to enjoy it anymore." After Peggy finished speaking, she laughed and walked away. The students avoided wherever she went. "Can't enjoy it? Hehe, I want to see who really can't enjoy it." Wang Zibin showed a sneer and went to the dormitory. The female students looked at Wang Zibin's back, first fascinated and then showed pity. Obviously, no one is optimistic about Wang Zibin. Because compared to Peggy who has already participated in the knight ranking competition, Wang Zibin, who has just joined the academy, not only has a shorter training time, but also has no extra help. And Peggy's bloodline of the pig monster, although it led to abnormal obesity in appearance, but the increase in combat power is a real deal. In the dormitory, Wang Zibin took today's secret medicine and began to exercise. Unlike the usual sweating when exercising, Wang Zibin who exercised today not only did not shed a drop of sweat, but his complexion was blood red. No, not only his face was blood red, but even Wang Zibin's exposed hands became blood red. If there are official knights here, they will definitely exclaim, "Isn't this the precursor to the breakthrough from knight apprentice to formal knight?" Indeed, at this moment, Wang Zibin is breaking through as an official knight. At this moment, in his body, in addition to the power of the secret medicine, there is another mysterious power providing greater assistance. Accumulate over time. A small accumulation every day, a big accumulation every month. At this time, it has been more than a month since Wang Zibin loaded daily accumulation, and these daily accumulations burst out at this moment, helping Wang Zibin's breakthrough. Not long after, Wang Zibin's body became more and more red, like a boiled prawn. Even Wang Zibin himself seemed to be able to hear the sound of blood rushing in his body. Clatter as the blood continued to rush and accelerate. At this moment, a qualitative change occurred in the rushing blood, and chi was produced. This is blood. And with the generation of blood energy, the accelerated blood seemed to have a catharsis, and slowly calmed down, returning to its normal flow. On the contrary, it is the continuous generation of blood energy. Wang Zibin's blood-red body gradually returned to normal, and an aura emerged spontaneously. The formal knight breakthrough was successful. Now Wang Zibin has become a first-order Earth Knight. Wang Zibin stopped exercising and stood quietly in the dormitory, feeling the strength of an official knight in his body, full of confidence in tomorrow's knight ranking match. Chapter 14. In the early morning, the civilian knight academy became noisy. All the knight students rushed to the playground of the academy either with their friends or alone in silence. On the wide playground, many arenas have been set up to facilitate competitions. As a mage, Wang Zibin could tell at a glance that these arenas were all built by magic. Even Wang Zibin saw that an old man in a white mage robe was sitting in the middle of a group of academy leaders on the temporary auditorium. The dean of the college, a third-tier Earth Knight, was chatting and laughing with the mage. Seeing this scene, Wang Zibin was a little surprised, because this sorcerer is only a second rank. To be able to gain such respect undoubtedly shows the special status of a sorcerer in the human empire. Even the students who came to the playground were full of envy when they saw this mage. In their cognition, mages are mysterious and noble, and becoming a mage is more desirable than a knight. Especially since this mage is already at the second level, which means he is still a nobleman. And the dean of the academy, this third-order knight, is not yet a nobleman. Therefore, the envy in the eyes of the students is quite normal. Wang Zibin had a normal heart. After expressing surprise at the status of the mage, he focused on today's night qualifying match. After silently observing the students of the entire academy, Wang Zibin had a solid idea: even if a few formal knights like him pop up suddenly, he can still ensure that he is firmly in the top 10, so as to participate in the city's night qualifying competition. In fact, Wang Zibin's idea is a bit too steady. Among the students present, apart from him, after breaking through to become a formal knight, who was not overjoyed, wishing that the whole academy would know about it, and get huge honors and benefits. Of course, Wang Zibin, who has a terrifying growth rate, will care about these unexpected factors that may affect his growth. In Wang Zibin's mind, his future is bright, but the current starting point is a little low, and he is eager to change this situation. For Wang Zibin, this night qualifying match is an opportunity not to be missed, and all accidents are within his consideration. Wang Zibin, who was thinking, suddenly felt a malicious look, and suddenly turned his head to look over. Directly to his right, Peggy was staring at him fiercely with malicious eyes. And when Wang Zibin looked over, Peggy made a gesture of cutting her neck, signaling to kill Wang Zibin. It has to be said that Peggy's actions made Wang Zibin feel threatened. For those who are ready to kill him like this, he always strikes first. Originally, Wang Zibin wanted to keep him alive, but Peggy's actions over and over again really made Wang Zibin dispel this idea. However, it is still somewhat difficult to kill Peggy in the game. Wang Zibin did not forget that Peggy's uncle, Peggy, was a teacher at the college. It seems that the only option is to be ruthless, and it is best to kill with one blow. Wang Zibin, who had made a plan, waited for the official start of the night qualifying competition together with all the students. Before the start, the dean of the academy grandly introduced the second-order mage beside him, and stated that he not only built these arenas, but also the chief referee of this competition. During the introduction by the head of the academy, Wang Zibin learned that the refereeing system for the night qualifying competition was all taken over by the Mage Association of White Star City. It seems that now, the order of the battle between the students is completely determined by this second-level mage. That's why Peggy, who has a relationship in the academy, can't be sure when she will meet Wang Zibin. Student number 17, please go to ring number 4 to compete. After receiving the number 17 plate representing his identity, Wang Zibin came to the number 4 ring according to the teacher's words. There was already a group of people around the number 4 ring. Wang Zibin looked at them and found that they were all new students just like himself. Obviously, when this second-tier mage decided the order of the battle, he took care of the new students. After all the students received their number plates and came to the corresponding arena, the teachers of the college came to the arena one after another and arranged the competition. Because it is a competition that all students must participate in, the time seems very tight. Basically, as soon as the competition in the ring is over, the teachers of the college will arrange the next round. Number 16 versus number 15, the winner, no 16. After the college teacher announced the result of the battle, he immediately said, next is the 17th against the 18th. Wang Zibin, wearing the number 17, stepped onto the ring. Opposite him was a strong young man. No, to be precise, almost all students who have practiced knight strength will become stronger. No matter male or female. That's right, that's why many female students surround Wang Zibin, and he doesn't fluctuate. With Wang Zibin's aesthetics, he is already very accepting of beauty, whether it is a cute loli or a big sister, he said that he can appreciate it. But in the face of a group of female knight students who are stronger, in figure, than himself and have rough looks, Wang Zibin said that he really can't appreciate it. Therefore, Wang Zibin's opponent in the first battle seemed to be physically strong, but it was actually a normal phenomenon in the Knight Academy. On the other hand, Wang Zibin himself, even if he breaks through the official knight, perhaps because he is a mage, his body has not become stronger, but he still maintains a slender body. It's just that compared with others, Wang Zibin looks a little thin. At this time, Wang Zibin's opponent, this strong young man, looked at Wang Zibin with obvious contempt in his eyes. Such a thin guy, didn't he hit him casually? Facing such a victory that he thought was within easy reach, after the game started, he decisively raised his hand to the academy teacher and said, "Teacher, my stomach hurts, admit defeat." The college teacher glanced at him, nodded, and announced the result of the competition, number 17 versus number 18, number 17 wins. In this way, Wang Zibin won the game with a puzzled look on his face. Although each student's body may be out of shape, the night ranking competition also allows admitting defeat. But Wang Zibin could see clearly that his opponent didn't seem to have a stomachache at all, but rather deliberately surrendered. Next, the opponents Wang Zibin encountered either had headaches or colds, and all of them chose to admit defeat. At this time, even if Wang Zibin thought with his toes, he could tell that something was wrong. Chapter 15. At the end of the day, Wang Zibin's game situation was that when he stepped into the ring, his opponent conceded. It can be said that Wang Zibin won the game with just a face. If Wang Zibin hadn't known that he was poor and white, he would have almost thought that he had some kind of background, and had arranged the entire competition. Since he didn't arrange it himself, there is only one truth, and that is Wang Zibin, who was arranged by others. Wang Zibin also thought of who arranged him, Peggy. In order for Wang Zibin to compete with him, Peggy directly asked all Wang Zibin's students he met to admit defeat. In this way, Wang Zibin will 100% enter the top of the student rankings, and Peggy will play against Wang Zibin sooner or later. After realizing that he was arranged, Wang Zibin deeply felt Peggy's good intentions. Originally, Wang Zibin was thinking about how much water he had to put in the game so that he could win the game without scaring Peggy away. But Peggy's operation completely relieved Wang Zibin of this kind of trouble, and it was really hard for Wang Zibin to refuse. In this way, in the few days since the start of the night qualifying competition, Wang Zibin has won without a fight, and directly entered the top 20 among all the students. Today is the last day of the ranking competition in the academy. The top 20 students will conduct a round-robin competition to determine the final ranking within the academy, and the top 10 will be able to participate in the real night ranking competition. Not only Peggy had been waiting for this day for a long time, but even Wang Zibin was looking forward to it. However, under the deliberate assignment of the second-order mage, Peggy and Wang Zibin were divided into two groups until they finally met. At this moment, Wang Zibin has already ranked second, while Peggy is ranked first. The battle between the two will determine the number one among all the students in the academy. Originally, this would be an exciting battle, but all the students lacked interest. Because they all saw how Wang Zibin won the second place along the way. And this is obviously a battle in which Peggy unilaterally beat Wang Zibin. Wang Zibin's so-called second place is just a joke. To be honest, this is no longer a normal game, but a game full of shady scenes. Even a blind person can see the black curtain in it. Could it be that the second-tier mage who is the referee can't see it? No, of course he could see it, so he deliberately arranged Wang Zibin last. In this way, even if Wang Zibin is defeated, he still has the second place. Not only that, when Wang Zibin played against Peggy, the second-tier mage was also very energetic and prepared to watch the game seriously. As a mage, he was different from the students. He could see that Wang Zibin did not show any fear from the beginning to the end. He was very curious about this and wanted to know what kind of support Wang Zibin had. From this point, we can see the gap in life experience. Even Peggy, who was standing opposite Wang Zibin in the arena at this time, didn't care about this, but looked at Wang Zibin with a sneer. Finally, you are here. In order to fight against Wang Zibin, Peggy not only made arrangements among the students, but even the college teacher who is currently hosting the match in the ring is his uncle Peg. In this way, when the time comes, the teachers of the college will not rescue in time, causing the students to suffer more serious injuries, etc. It may happen. Game start. Following Peggy's words, Peggy rushed towards Wang Zibin directly. It seemed that she didn't want to give Wang Zibin a chance to admit defeat. Pigs advance by leaps and bounds. An extremely faint black light emerged from Peggy's body. This was a move he used the blood of a pig-like monster. As a knight apprentice who is very close to a formal knight, Peggy is not weak at all. Coupled with the power of the blood of the monster, Peggy's speed is very fast, which does not match her abnormally fat body at all. At this time, Peggy is like a monster wild boar, rushing forward with a powerful force. If it was the other students, under Peggy's piggy advance, they didn't even have a chance to raise their hands and admit defeat. They were knocked down directly, and then fell into Peggy's hands, allowing them to attack. However, for Wang Zibin, who is already an official knight, although Peggy's movements are fast, he is even faster. Similarly, Peggy wants to make Wang Zibin unable to admit defeat through an unexpected attack, and then slowly torture Wang Zibin, which is very ruthless. But Wang Zibin is even more ruthless. Because from the very beginning, Wang Zibin was going to kill Peggy with one blow, so as not to give the college teachers a chance to intervene. So under such circumstances, facing Peggy's pig rushing forward, Wang Zibin clenched his fist with his right hand, mobilized the blood in his body to the maximum, gathered it on the right fist, and bombarded it out. Wang Zibin's right fist hit Peggy's face directly. Even before Wang Zibin's right fist touched Peggy's face, the wind that was carried when he punched, scratched bloodstains on Peggy's face full of vicious smiles as he fantasized about how to concoct Wang Zibin. And when Wang Zibin's fist really hit Peggy's face, the face of the fist was completely submerged into Peggy's facial muscles. Boom! At this moment, Peggy was thrown backwards by Wang Zibin's punch at a faster speed than when she came. After Peggy slid on the ground for several meters, her obese figure stayed on the edge of the ring. She almost fell off the ring and lost her qualification directly. Still, even if Peggy doesn't lose her eligibility, it's not that far off. Because Peggy's body lying on the ground was twitching constantly, and blood spurted out of her face, as if she was getting less air than she was getting out. Peggy's face has been replaced by a fist mark at this time, the facial features have been crumpled into a ball, and the original facial bones have been completely shattered. How can it be? Peggy let out a scream, and strode up to Peggy, looking at Peggy's face in disbelief. Wang Zibin, who succeeded in one blow, looked at Peggy's twitching body with a little regret, and then shook the blood on his right hand. It's a pity that Peggy was not killed directly. Wang Zibin punched that punch just now with the idea of killing it, but he underestimated Peggy's defense after all. With the blessing of the blood of the pig monster, Peggy's defense is very high, far exceeding that of ordinary students. Even Wang Zibin, an official knight with all his strength, did not smash Peggy's head. After smashing the facial bones, he was powerless. Of course, although Peggy was not directly killed, Peggy was not far from death. After all, this was a completely shattered injury on the face. Chapter 16. How dare you? After checking Peggy's injuries, Peg yelled at Wang Zibin angrily. It's no wonder that Peg is so angry. Peg is the person he cares most about. With the strength and talent that Peg currently possesses, it can be said that he will steadily surpass himself in the future. It can be said that not only him, but their entire family have high hopes for Peggy's future and regard Peggy as the cornerstone of the family's rise. Therefore, their family paid a huge price to allow Peggy to have the blood of a monster, and they are going to take the road of a blood knight. But now, all the hard work and painstaking efforts have disappeared under Wang Zibin's fist. Peg glared at Wang Zibin and clenched his fists, almost unable to restrain himself from attacking to avenge him. With the strength of Peg, a veteran knight, coupled with the martial arts he has mastered, Wang Zibin, who has only recently become an official knight, is safe. However, Wang Zibin was not afraid of Peg's attack at all. Not to mention his own second-tier mage strength, even other people outside the field would never allow Peg to do it. As early as when Wang Zibin swung that punch, the dean of the academy, who was a third-tier knight, stood up in surprise, his eyes filled with disbelief. As the dean, he naturally hoped that the students in his academy would be able to break through as formal knights, and then get a better ranking in the knight ranking competition. But to be honest, the target of his expectation has always been Peggy, so he turned a blind eye to Peggy's behavior. But never expected that Wang Zibin became an official knight one step ahead of Peggy. Fortunately, after all, he has experienced big storms. After being surprised, he immediately realized that the opportunity for his college to obtain more resources was coming. He exuded momentum, locked on Peg firmly, and warned him. The most important thing for the dean at present is to protect Wang Zibin and let him represent the academy in competitions. As for Peggy, who was seriously injured and dying on one side, he had long since forgotten to go to the corner. Not only that, in addition to the dean, the second-tier mage as the referee also locked on Peg. Peggy's small actions are nothing more than that. After all, it complies with the rules. But if the college teacher who presides over the competition dares to attack the participating students, then he must take care of it. Otherwise, once Wang Zibin is injured, he will definitely be held accountable. So, Peg, who just yelled at Wang Zibin, "How dare you!" was immediately targeted by the dean and the second-tier mage at the same time, and a deadly sense of crisis arose in his heart. Peg knew that as long as he dared to attack Wang Zibin, there would be a thunderous blow from the two of them in an instant. Immediately, Peg, who realized that he was in a bad situation, broke out in cold sweat behind his back. At this moment, Wang Zibin yawned boredly, and said, "Did I win?" With that said, Wang Zibin took a step towards Peggy. Wang Zibin's meaning is obvious: if he hasn't won yet, he doesn't mind giving Peggy another knife. Wang Zibin's action even startled Peg and made him take a step back. Then he restrained his emotions and reluctantly announced the result of the game. So far, the knight ranking competition in the academy is over, and Wang Zibin has naturally won the first place. It was also at this time that the students who were watching the battle came back to their senses and let out a shocking exclamation: "Have they ever seen such an unexpected battle? Unexpectedly wonderful!" Although the winner was only decided in an instant, it was almost a decision of life and death. Not to mention, what Wang Zibin represents is the underdog, while Peggy is the bully. This reversal of the weak defeating the strong made it hard for them not to agree, and they even wished they could replace it. Amidst the cheers of all the students, the head of the academy came to Wang Zibin, and communicated with Wang Zibin in an unusually kind manner. The inside and outside of the words were all for Wang Zibin to win more in the subsequent citywide night ranking competition. Good ranking. At this moment, Wang Zibin was the center of the entire academy, and only Peg was looking after Peggy in the ring, looking very desolate. This is a typical winner takes all and loser gets nothing. After finishing the competition within the academy, Wang Zibin got a long period of free time. Because unlike the civilian night academy he was in, the students in those better academies had higher levels and spent more time in the game. Usually, after the bottom night academies finish the competition, they wait for the better academies to finish the competition before the city's night ranking competition can officially start. And such free time is very precious to Wang Zibin. These times, under Wang Zibin's terrifying cultivation speed, can give Wang Zibin a huge boost in strength, thereby obtaining a better ranking. And the current treatment of Wang Zibin in the academy far exceeds that of other students. With the consent of the dean, the original limited amount of secret medicine in the academy was supplied to Wang Zibin without limit. Even some supplementary food was provided by the dean out of his own pocket for Wang Zibin to enjoy, ensuring that he had sufficient nutrition. Under such circumstances, Wang Zibin devoted himself to the cavalier's training without any hindrance. During the training days, Wang Zibin also heard about Peggy's situation. In order to gain Wang Zibin's favor, the dean of the college told him the news. After the game, Peg sent Peggy to treatment immediately, and after spending a lot of money, Peggy's life was saved. This is indeed somewhat beyond Wang Zibin's expectations, because under normal circumstances, Peggy's injury was already seriously injured and dying. However, in the healing magic of the mage, he was saved abruptly. Of course, it was only to save Peggy, there was nothing he could do about his completely shattered face. So Peggy has become a person that even his parents can't recognize, can't carry out normal study and life at all, and has dropped out of college. After Peggy dropped out of school, Peg also left. It's just that Peg didn't go by himself, but was dismissed by the academy because he failed to be fair and just in the competition. Obviously, this is the dean of the college's favor to Wang Zibin. At the same time, it also told Wang Zibin that the grievances between him and Peggy are over, and he can prepare for the Cavaliers' ranking match with peace of mind. 10 days later, the dean of the academy personally sent Wang Zibin to the venue of the night ranking competition, a night academy ranked in the middle in the entire Bexing City, the third night academy in Bexing City. If you were to find the most powerful among the commoner night academies, it would be the third night academy in Bexing City. Chapter 17. In White Star City and even all human cities, the night academy is roughly divided into 3 classes. The lowest one is the civilian night academy, which is open to all civilians, and you can enroll if you pay. The middle level is the noble night academy, which is usually only open to noble blood, and there are barriers to entry. Advanced ones are night academies that go beyond the conventional meaning. They have strict requirements and are usually invitation only, with extremely high thresholds. The reason for this division is that although everyone can practice knights, the requirements for resources are not low. For civilians, they must first satisfy their daily needs of food and clothing before they can expect to practice knighthood. The nobles themselves occupy a lot of resources, and vigorously cultivate their own blood. Even if they use resources, they can pile up into knights abruptly. Therefore, the Knight Academy class appeared naturally. It is worth mentioning that in all human empires, the secret medicines needed for knight cultivation are strictly forbidden to be controlled by private individuals or families. The only place that can legally provide the knight's secret medicine is the Knight Academy. But besides the secret medicine, there are many ways to enhance the physique, but the cost of resources is much more than that of the secret medicine. Therefore, civilians and nobles have different starting points after entering the Knight Academy. From this point of view, it seems that it is difficult for commoners to cross-class and become nobles. However, in fact, the human empire has opened up a shortcut to the nobility, Military Knight Academy. Military Knight Academies are established in all major cities. They are middle-level Knight Academies, open to all civilians, and even exempt tuition fees. However, under such relaxed conditions, there are strict requirements for employment. That is, after graduating from the Military Knight Academy, you must join the army and serve your country. Those who do meritorious deeds can become nobles. In this world, neither elves nor humans dominate, but monsters. The borders of the human empire are often harassed by monsters. Coupled with the nature of human beings who like to fight among themselves, there are also many wars launched against other empires. Therefore, the army is never too crowded, and there is no shortage of opportunities to make meritorious deeds. Take White Star City as an example. As a city on the border of the Starry Empire, 90% of the nobles in it were obtained by meritorious service within the army. Along with great opportunities, there are naturally monstrous dangers. To join the military knight academy is undoubtedly to fight with one's life. Therefore, except for some civilians who can't make it through, or people with great ambitions, it is difficult for the military knight academy to recruit even if it has such a good welfare package. When the dean of the academy sent Wang Zibin to the White Star City Third Knight Academy, Wang Zibin paid special attention to the White Star City Military Knight Academy built next to it. Ming people don't say dark words. Bexing City Military Academy is the way out that Wang Zibin is going to give himself. If Wang Zibin was not admitted to a better Knight Academy due to an accident this time, then Wang Zibin would choose to directly join the White Star City Military Knight Academy. However, although Wang Zibin is confident in his ability, he does not want to be restricted in his freedom when it is not necessary. So Wang Zibin just took it as his retreat, and the Cavaliers ranking tournament is more reliable right now. The Third Knight Academy in Bexing City, as the best civilian Knight Academy, is several times larger than Wang Zibin's academy in terms of area alone. Now it is even more lively due to the gathering of students from the Commoner Knight Academy. Even the dean of Wang Zibin's academy saw this scene with fiery eyes, wishing to replace it. So he patted Wang Zibin on the shoulder and said, "Come on, don't disappoint my expectations." Wang Zibin nodded immediately. After all, these days, many of his resources were provided by the dean of the college himself. Wang Zibin would give him a good grade due to emotion and reason. Just as the dean of the college patted Wang Zibin on the shoulder, people from other colleges also noticed this scene. Without him, mainly as the dean of the third-tier knight, it is really hard not to attract attention if he treats a student so kindly. Even the leaders of other colleges, almost no one is like the dean of the college, either the teacher of the first-order knight, or the vice principal of the second-order knight. And these people, when they recognized the dean of the college, their faces changed, and they turned around and confessed to the students they brought over. "Get the number, come to the ring, wait for the number to be read, and start the game." The process is exactly the same as the competition in the academy. When the referee read Wang Zibin's number, Wang Zibin stepped onto the ring with ease. Opposite him was a burly student. Purely in terms of size, it is estimated that only 2 Wang Zibins can match one of him, which can be described as pure size crushing. Not to mention, from the moment this student took the stage, his eyes were wide open, as if he would explode at any time. So much so that the referee, who is an official knight, warned him not to violate the rules and make an early shot with his eyes. Game start. However, when the referee gave the order, Wang Zibin hadn't moved yet. The burly student opposite, without any hesitation, raised his hands instantly, and shouted decisively, "I surrender." Wang Zibin was stunned. The referee was stunned. The other students watching the battle were stunned. "Do you dare to get violent at any time, just can't wait to admit defeat?" But this burly student didn't care about these things. After admitting defeat, he immediately ran off the ring, fearing that the referee would say that his surrender was not in compliance, and he would go back and try again. Among everyone's puzzled eyes, only the teacher who led the students' team showed a happy expression that changed from fear to relief. God knows how nervous this teacher was, for fear that he would bring a lively student and bring back a corpse. It turned out that during the days when Wang Zibin practiced with peace of mind, what happened in the arena that day had already been spread by a group of students with embellishments. One punch, almost killed. One punch, end the game. Originally, when such news appeared, some people believed it and some did not believe it, but when Peggy came back to life and was seen by others, no one did not believe it. One punch almost caused Peggy to die directly. Even if she came back to life, she would become a person with all 5 sense organs needed together. It can be said that Wang Zibin's punch, in all kinds of communication, has become either death directly, or life is worse than death. Indeed, with Peggy's appearance, wouldn't life be worse than death? Tyrant. This is Wang Zibin's bad name outside, which refers to the rage of his deadly punch at the beginning of the game, and the brutality of his punch that made Peggy's life worse than death. These days, Wang Zibin's reputation as a tyrant spreads far and wide. Chapter 18, Arranged Again. This burly student not only knew Wang Zibin's tyrant name, but also his teacher who led the team urged him to admit defeat. So under such circumstances, it took him a lot of courage to go to the ring, and he was even afraid. Wang Zibin didn't even give him the chance to admit defeat. The so-called violent rise at any time is to be ready to admit defeat at any time. No, after admitting defeat, he ran off the ring complacently, and won the admiring eyes of the teacher who led the team. Then, another scene of déjà vu happened. Whenever Wang Zibin stands on the ring, the opponents he meets are either trembling, or they are extremely serious, and they look violent at any time. But no matter what it looks like, the moment the referee shouts the game starts, he will admit defeat at the speed of light. In the arena, Wang Zibin, who experienced it personally, was full of doubts at the beginning, and now he has some understanding. Is this arranged again? Not long ago, under Peggy's arrangement, Wang Zibin enjoyed such treatment. Unexpectedly, Wang Zibin, who came outside, was still like this. Is this the loss of human nature, or the corruption of morality? Cough, the dean of the college on the spectator platform coughed guiltily, hiding his merit and fame. That's right, it was him who arranged Wang Zibin this time. Eliminate Peg internally, allowing Wang Zibin to practice with peace of mind, spreading the name of Wang Zibin's tyrant externally, so that Wang Zibin can win without a fight and preserve his energy. In order for Wang Zibin to get a better ranking and for the college to obtain more resources, the dean of the college has worked hard. Of course, in the final analysis, the dean of the college is for his own future. Wang Zibin, who felt that he was arranged, was the first person to suspect in his heart was the dean of the college. It's not too early to get no profit, Wang Zibin of course knows this well. Otherwise, why didn't Wang Zibin feel the dean's care before he showed his strength as a formal knight, but only after that? After Wang Zibin thought about the situation of being arranged like this, he didn't take it seriously. Winning without fighting, on the contrary, saved time for Wang Zibin, and the saved energy also allowed Wang Zibin to continue exercising without needing to recuperate. Although the dean of the college's methods are good, they are only small ways after all. After all, this is a knight ranking competition in which students from all over the city participate, and it is related to the distribution of resources. It is impossible for those who are capable to sell these resources. Wang Zibin can use the name of tyrant to make his opponent lose without a fight. The most important thing is strength. The students he met were all knight apprentices. Of course, it is impossible to challenge Wang Zibin's tyrant when he knows that he will lose. It is better to believe in its existence than in its non-existence. However, after Wang Zibin continued to win games and his ranking rose, he finally faced off against the formal knight students. Because he was in the 3rd Knight Academy in Bexing City. As the leader of the Civilian Knight Academy, the 3rd Knight Academy has official knights in every knight ranking competition, so it can hold the top spot. Looking at the formal female knight student on the opposite side, Wang Zibin was a little excited and a little nervous. According to the dean of the academy, there are 2 official knights in this knight ranking competition, the 3rd Knight Academy, 1 male and 1 female. The one in front of him was the female student, Li Ro. Although the name Li Ro sounds like a weak girl, the one standing in front of Wang Zibin is not weak at all. With a square face, muscles to support clothes, and fists the size of casserole pots, it is 100% capable of punching a monster with one punch. This is Li Ro. Even Wang Zibin, the first time he saw Li Ro, he could subconsciously think of her little fist waving in a man's arms, a small fist hammers the chest, and one punch breaks the bone. Anyway, Wang Zibin didn't dare to take Li Ro's fist. This was also the reason why he was excited and nervous. It was the first time he fought against a formal knight, and he was quite excited, but this punch that broke his chest made him very nervous. On the opposite side, Li Ro looked at Wang Zibin with a square face, with serious eyes. She has also heard the name of Wang Zibin's tyrant. Even though she became a first-order female knight, and the excessive exercise caused the femininity to completely disappear, but in her heart, she still regarded herself as a woman. What is the most important thing for a woman? Appearance. The reason why Li Ro was serious was because she knew that Wang Zibin smashed Peggy's face with a punch. As a woman, Li Ro was extremely afraid that she would become the next Peggy. Then, a weird scene appeared. After the referee called the start, Wang Zibin and Li Ro stood in the same spot, motionless, staring at each other tightly under the eyes of everyone. Neither of them dared to make a move, and they were engaged in a fierce spiritual battle. Wang Zibin, the enemy does not move, I do not move, I am afraid that she will smash my chest. Li Ro, why didn't this guy make the first move? Did you wait for me to rush up and punch me in the face? Terrible. Half a minute. 1 minute. 3 minutes. A few minutes passed, and the people watching the battle went from anticipation at the beginning, to doubts, and finally became impatient. Why don't you fight? Are you going to stare at the other side with your eyes? That's right, those who don't know think you are teasing. The students' discussions could be heard clearly, but Wang Zibin sat firmly on the Diao Yute and didn't care what the people below said. But Li Ro couldn't do it anymore. When someone said that she and Wang Zibin were talking about love, her heart became confused. She is a big girl with yellow flowers, how can she be slandered like this? Although he is really handsome, I am not at a disadvantage. Distraught, Li Ro knew that it would be useless to continue staring, so she was forced to attack. Li Ro was the first to rush towards Wang Zibin, neither fast nor slow, and every step was extremely steady, which was an obvious defensive attack. That is to say, it seems that Li Ro is actively attacking, but she is actually ready to turn offense into defense at any time. The attack is just an appearance, and she is forcing Wang Zibin to react. However, as an official knight, even if Li Ro's speed was neither too fast nor too slow, in the eyes of all the knight apprentices, Li Ro seemed very fast. They thought that the wonderful battle would start soon, so they immediately applauded. In the face of Li Ro's attack, all formal knights who have undergone perfect training can see that this is just a tentative attack, so that they can return the same test to not reveal the truth. But Wang Zibin was different. Even if he joined the class halfway, and the training time was short, he didn't know the way to do it. So seeing Li Ro rushing forward, Wang Zibin punched with all his might. Want to beat my chest? No way. Chapter 19 Unexpected Victory. In order not to be crushed by Li Ro's little fist, Wang Zibin gathered all his blood into his right fist, and violently blasted at Li Ro. Back then, Wang Zibin used this punch to almost kill Peggy. It's just that Peggy was an apprentice knight at the beginning, and it was difficult to respond to Wang Zibin's full-strength punch from a formal knight. Li Ro is different, she is also a formal knight, not to mention that she has undergone perfect training, not only reacting, but also turning offense into defense, directly transforming into a two-handed block. In an instant, Wang Zibin punched with all his strength, hitting Li Ro's blocking posture. Tap Li Ro's body was repelled, and Wang Zibin also took 2 steps back under the counterforce. Hiss Li Ro, who was repelled, felt the severe pain from her hands, and secretly gasped, this guy, like the rumors, is a tyrant. Want to brutally ruin someone's appearance. Indeed, just now Wang Zibin's fist was aimed at Li Ro's face. But unlike the brutality Li Ro imagined, Wang Zibin's punch was subconsciously aimed towards the face. Unlike the saying that hitting people doesn't hit the face, in close combat, the face is definitely one of the huge weaknesses. After all, the human face is full of sense organs and full of nerves. As long as it is hit by an attack, it will inevitably cause severe pain, which will affect the combat effectiveness. It's a pity that Li Ro didn't know what Wang Zibin was thinking, and just took Wang Zibin's attack for granted as the cruelty and disfigurement that she was most afraid of. Feeling the cruelty of Wang Zibin, Li Ro immediately felt the intention to retreat. Anyway, I am already able to participate in more advanced competitions, there is no need to take the risk of disfigurement to get a slightly better ranking. In addition, Li Ro, who felt the sharp pain in her hand, knew that she still suffered such a large amount of damage even though she blocked it perfectly, which undoubtedly shows that Wang Zibin's physical strength is higher than hers. In other words, even if she risks disfigurement, she may not be able to beat Wang Zibin. After a brief analysis, Li Ro's retreat became even more serious, so that when she saw Wang Zibin's right hand moving slightly, she immediately raised her hand and said, I surrender. After finishing speaking, Li Ro turned around neatly, walked down the ring, rubbed her hands, and cursed something in a low voice. He looks so handsome, but he didn't expect him to be so cruel. He's blinded by a good skin? Here, Wang Zibin swung his fist with all his strength, his right hand hurt a little from the reaction force, and Wang Zibin, who couldn't help swinging, was puzzled again. I was assigned again. Subconsciously, Wang Zibin turned his head slightly and looked at the dean of the academy sitting on the audience stage. Dean, your hands and eyes are so good that you can even operate an official knight of the Third Knight Academy. However, what he saw was a bewildered look on the head of the college. The eyes of the two wanted to meet, and the dean of the college subconsciously shook his head. I'm not, don't talk nonsense. This is really not an existence that the dean of the academy can handle with his hands and eyes. After all, the dean of the Third Knight Academy is much more powerful than him. But with such a result, the dean of the college was also confused. To be honest, others don't know, but he knows Wang Zibin very well. Although Wang Zibin has become an official knight, but for the combat skills, the knight's complete training and so on, but not at all. Under normal circumstances, even if Wang Zibin is physically stronger than Li Ro because of his exaggerated cultivation speed, he is still not strong enough. Once the battle is prolonged, Wang Zibin will definitely be defeated by Li Ro because of the flaws everywhere. The dean of the college has even prepared words of comfort and encouragement after Wang Zibin lost. Unexpectedly, after receiving Wang Zibin's punch, Li Ro actually surrendered directly, which was beyond everyone's expectations. Shady, shady. The unexpected result made the students who watched the battle call out the shady scene. In the excitement of the crowd, the dean of the Third Night Academy and the chief referee of the Mage Association, who was sitting here, looked at each other and came to Li Ro. Seeing the arrival of the two bosses, although Li Ro was a little nervous, she didn't panic. When she took the initiative to admit defeat, she had considered the occurrence of such a scene. Li Ro didn't wait for the two bosses to take the initiative to ask questions, and lifted up her sleeves, revealing her blue-purple arms. He's better than me. With just one glance, the two bosses were able to judge that what Li Ro said was true based on the injuries Li Ro suffered after parrying. After reaching such a conclusion, the two bosses returned to the audience stand and announced the fair and effective results of the competition to all the students. With the confirmation of these two people, the voice of the shady disappeared immediately. The game continued. Next, maybe it was because someone did it deliberately, or maybe it was because Wang Zibin was very lucky. Until the end of the game at the Third Night Academy, Wang Zibin did not meet another seeded player from the Third Night Academy. In this session of the Night Ranking Tournament, the Third Night Academy has 2 seed players, that is, 2 official knights. And according to the Dean of the Academy, the other one is a formal male knight, much stronger than Li Ro. Unlike the internal competitions of the Night Academy, these ordinary knight students do not need to be completely ranked in the competition here. Generally, it is determined to go out to participate in more advanced competitions, and it can be over. And the ranking of the Civilian Night Academy is based on the proportion of these places and the ranking of the students after the final night ranking competition. That is to say, in order to preserve the power to the greatest extent, the Civilian Night Academy usually clicks until the end. Even if it is injured, it will not be too serious. That's why everyone turns pale when they hear the name of Wang Zibin's tyrant. All in all, after Wang Zibin demonstrated his strength in the battle with Li Ro, he was recognized by the head of the Third Night Academy, and it was logical to represent the Commoner Night Academy in the battle. Originally, there may still be surprises in this game, that is Wang Zibin and another seeded player. After being seriously injured, he was unable to participate in the rest of the game, which led to a lower ranking and lost the opportunity. Now, of course, this accident did not happen. Not only Wang Zibin was relieved, but also the dean of the college. Representing the civilian knights in the battle has already met the most basic expectations of the two. Wang Zibin has gained a platform to show himself and let those better schools see him. The dean of the college, relying on Wang Zibin, has already secured more resources. As for the future, he dare not have any illusions. Because, as a Tier 3 knight, he understands quite well that the gap brought about by the difference in the college level is truly unmatched. Chapter 20. White Star Academy, formerly known as the First Night Academy of White Star City, is the first academy established in White Star City, and it is also the best academy. At this moment, the huge Baxing Academy playground was full of voices, very lively. The final round of the night ranking competition will be held here. Students from the entire White Star City and major night academies will determine their rankings here. On the playground, there are a total of 10 large arenas, and 10 games will be played at the same time. Next to each arena, the referee is at least a second-tier knight, and there is also a second-tier mage who repairs the arena. At the same time, there is a third-tier medical mage present, ready to save people at any time. It can be said that White Star Academy's preparations are quite sufficient, so that the students of the Commoner Night Academy who came here were shocked. That's all for the second-tier knight referee. The key is that there are so many mages, how can they meet at the same time, or even exaggerate, or serve them exclusively? Only Wang Zibin watched all this calmly. I, the former tower mage of the future, the master of the tower, although I have left my hometown, the future can be expected. As long as he is given time to develop, Wang Zibin said that this is nothing more than that. Compared to these, Wang Zibin's attention was all on observing other students. To be precise, he was observing the students of the Noble Academy and the students of the White Star Academy. Compared with the Commoner Knight Academy, there are all burly students. The students of the Noble Knight Academy are much more normal, especially the female students among them. Even though they are a little stronger, they have fair appearance and don't feel rough at all. A female student like this is simply a beauty in a knight academy full of muscular girls. Not only Wang Zibin paid close attention to them, but the other male students from the Commoner Knight Academy also looked straight at them. It is obvious that female students in the Noble Knight Academy can use various resources to take care of their appearance and ensure that it is not affected by the exercise. Such an approach undoubtedly consumes a lot of resources, but for these students, it is a blessing in disguise. As the only formal female knight student in the Commoner Knight Academy, Li Ro looked at them with obvious envy. Which woman does not love beauty? In addition, Wang Zibin also saw some more interesting things from the students of White Star Academy. The students representing White Star Academy in the competition were either extremely strong or extremely thin, which seemed a bit extreme. They are all blood knights, and they have at least one kind of monster blood in their bodies. While Wang Zibin was observing the students, the dean of the academy next to him explained appropriately. Hearing this, Wang Zibin nodded, with a flash of eagerness in his eyes. Of course, he didn't want to become a blood knight, but through these blood knights, he saw better resources in the academy. These resources just make Wang Zibin extremely greedy. Seemingly seeing what Wang Zibin was thinking, the dean of the college hesitated a little, thinking of forming a good relationship. He revealed some news to Wang Zibin that should not be revealed. The dean of the college took Wang Zibin away from the crowd, looked left and right, and then whispered, "To tell you the truth, among all the formal knights, you are probably the weakest group now. But don't be afraid, even if you don't win a game in the next competition, there will be an academy that makes an exception to admit you. According to the unspoken rules of the past, as long as you are a student of the civilian academy and you have reached the official knighthood, you can be seen by other academies here. So, when the game is over, don't care about winning or losing, and show yourself as much as possible." The news of the dean of the academy undoubtedly gave Wang Zibin a reassurance that the bloody battle plan he had planned to disappear immediately. Originally, in order to enter a better academy, Wang Zibin wanted to fight a bloody battle to get a better ranking. But knowing that there is a guarantee, Wang Zibin immediately dispelled such thoughts. If he could not bleed, then he would not bleed, and he had no tendency to self-abuse. To be honest, the behavior of the dean of the college is naturally illegal and will discourage the enthusiasm of the students to compete, just like the current Wang Zibin. It's just that the dean of the college thinks that the result is already doomed anyway, so it's better to say it and form a good relationship. After all, Wang Zibin's progress speed is destined to be higher than him in the future. Under the auspices of a 5th-tier archmage from the Mage Association, the final round of the night ranking tournament was announced to begin. In Wang Zibin's first match, he faced a female student from the Noble Knight Academy. Moreover, this female student is also an official knight. Compared with Wang Zibin's solemn face, the eyes of the female students of the Noble Knight Academy shine brightly. This little guy is so handsome. As the face value of a human male, Wang Zibin may not be the strongest among the students present, and there are even a lot of stronger ones than him. After all, Wang Zibin has only a short period of night training. However, Wang Zibin can definitely be said to be the most handsome among the students present. Appearance is justice, unisex. At this moment, Wang Zibin has not realized what is about to happen under his justice appearance. When the referee announced the start of the game, the bright female student broke out at full speed, like a hungry wolf, and pounced on Wang Zibin. It is not an exaggeration to say that the aura that the female student erupted at this time was a level stronger than that of Wang Zibin. The advantages of physical fitness, coupled with perfect training, made this female student completely invincible. Just like the attack she is launching against Wang Zibin now, the speed alone makes Wang Zibin's pupil shrink, and he realizes that he is not an opponent. It's just that the dean of the college still hears the confession, and he must try his best to show himself in front of these knight colleges. Therefore, without the need for a bloody battle, after Wang Zibin planned to show his strength, he took the initiative to admit defeat. In the face of a strong enemy, Wang Zibin did not retreat but advanced, did not dodge, but waved his fist at the female students. It was still a blow with all his strength, and it was still Wang Zibin's most powerful fist. However, unlike the previous two easy victories, Wang Zibin's punch this time was actually hit by the female student's hand on the wrist, and it swung away instantly. At this time, Wang Zibin's strength was all on his right fist, and after being swung away, his whole body was wide open. No one would give up such an opportunity, and naturally the female students would not either. The female student's hands were like snakes. She passed through Wang Zibin's arms, and went straight to the door. If there is no accident, as long as the female students use their hands firmly, Wang Zibin's bones will be cracked at the slightest, and broken at the worst. The battle became fierce from the very beginning. The students watching the battle were even more excited. Although anyone with a discerning eye could tell that Wang Zibin had the strength of a formal knight without any posture, and he was a rookie among formal knights. Chapter 21. But it's not a bad idea, and it's hard for a male student to be unhappy seeing Wang Zibin, who looks out of touch with the masses, about to be beaten up. So, their eyes widened, ready to applaud. But what surprised them almost was that after the hands of the female student of the Noble Knight Academy hit Wang Zibin's chest, nothing happened. Wang Zibin was not knocked into the air, did not vomit blood, and even his body was only shaken slightly. No, to be precise, the only thing that happened was that Wang Zibin's body became extremely stiff. Originally, he was prepared to be injured, but when the female student's hand touched his chest, he didn't carry the blood that belonged to a formal knight at all. It was a simple normal attack. If it's just like this, it's fine. The real reason for Wang Zibin's body stiffness is that Wang Zibin actually has a feeling of being touched under the hands of a female student. Have you been eaten tofu? This was what Wang Zibin was thinking at the moment, especially when he saw the glint of joy in the eyes of the female student who was close at hand. Undoubtedly, Wang Zibin confirmed this idea. Indeed, Wang Zibin's idea is not wrong. Because after this female student swung Wang Zibin's fist away, she stretched out her hands and touched Wang Zibin's pectoral muscles while she was unprepared. Ming people don't talk dark words, she is the body of Wang Zibin. Wang Zibin didn't know that the female student in front of him was one of the strongest students in the Noble Knight Academy, named Kathy. As a leader in the Noble Knight Academy, Kathy has always regarded herself very highly, and she can't see those crooked melons in the academy at all. But the moment she saw Wang Zibin in the ring, she was moved. The so-called heart is not as good as action. As soon as the game started, Kathy acted decisively. Dare to love and hate, that is Kathy's character. Only then did the scene on the arena at this time come about. Closer to home, Wang Zibin, who felt that he had been eaten tofu, immediately became angry. A soldier can be killed but not humiliated. How could he, a dignified second-level mage and first-level knight, be insulted like this? In the next second, Wang Zibin returned to the defense with both fists full of anger, hitting Kathy. It's a pity that Kathy is the one who has almost touched the threshold of the second-order knight. In terms of knight strength, she has a crushing advantage over Wang Zibin. Facing Wang Zibin's anger, a smile flashed across Kathy's eyes. She got short, avoided Wang Zibin's attack, and walked around behind him. Then, Kathy stretched out her hands again and patted Wang Zibin's waist. Shua! Wang Zibin, who was attacked in the waist, suddenly jumped several meters, breaking out in a cold sweat. A woman's face and a man's waist are both key parts. Fortunately, Kathy's slap this time was still just a normal attack, without blood. Otherwise, Wang Zibin might feel on the spot, what is the feeling of being critically hit in the waist. Wang Zibin, who jumped a few meters, looked at Kathy nervously, with both anger and fear in his eyes. What Wang Zibin was angry about was Kathy's attack, first attacking his chest, and then attacking his waist. It was obvious that he was eating his tofu. And the last fear is that if this is really an attack with blood, then Wang Zibin is 100% seriously injured now. In this way, Kathy's actions actually take care of Wang Zibin. For a moment, Wang Zibin's mood was very complicated. For Kathy, he was both angry and grateful. After realizing that his state of mind was abnormal, Wang Zibin immediately forced himself to calm down. After calming down, Wang Zibin realized the most practical problem, that is, under the huge gap in strength, he was under Kathy's control from the beginning to the end. His anger is nothing but impotent rage. I surrender. This time, it was Wang Zibin who raised his hand and conceded defeat. He acted quickly and spoke firmly. After realizing that he was invincible, the rational Wang Zibin decisively chose to admit defeat. Seeing the back of Wang Zibin walking down the ring first, a trace of pity flashed in Kathy's eyes, and then she murmured in a low voice, developed chest muscles, strong waist, good, good. Kathy looked at Wang Zibin's back, licked her lips, and showed excited eyes on her prey. This world is a world where the strong are respected. On the premise of having power, it can be said to be true equality between men and women. Just like now, Kathy, who dares to love and hate, directly regards Wang Zibin as her favorite, and makes no secret of her desire to get Wang Zibin. Feeling the hot gaze behind him, Wang Zibin quickly hid in the crowd. You wait for me, sooner or later I will take revenge. Wang Zibin was furious in his heart, but he also understood that now he was under the roof and had to bow his head. Wang Zibin couldn't even resist if he couldn't beat Kathy. However, being able to bend and stretch is a real man. The husband Wang Zibin made a note of Kathy in his heart, secretly determined to exercise hard. While Wang Zibin felt wronged, the students who witnessed the whole game showed envy and hatred. Especially the students of the Noble Knight Academy, who knew Kathy's identity, were full of jealousy towards Wang Zibin. Kathy is the youngest daughter of the Deputy City Lord of White Star City, and she can be regarded as the top nobleman in White Star City. Normally, Kathy would not answer how many people offered to be courteous, but now she actually fell in love with Wang Zibin, who is a commoner, which made them extremely jealous. Even among the female students, many of them showed the same look. It's just that they envy Kathy and want to replace her. But among the many eyes, there is one that is different. It was a look from the office of the Dean of Baxing Academy. The office of the Dean of Baxing Academy is facing the playground, and you can have a panoramic view of everything on the playground. It is not the Dean who is in the office now, but the Deputy Dean. Because the Dean is the City Lord of White Star City, the City Lord will naturally not stay in the Academy all the time, and the Vice Principal Karma is the one who handles the affairs of the Academy on a daily basis. It is worth mentioning that Vice President Karma is the daughter of the City Lord, a 5th Order Sky Knight who was injured in the battlefield. Karma looked at everything that happened on the playground, with a thoughtful look in her eyes. Kathy is actually interested in this kid, which is troublesome. As Karma's father's fiefdom, White Star City is actually controlled by the Starry Empire, even though it is said to be a private domain. The Deputy City Lord was sent by Fangxing Empire to monitor the White Star City Lord while restraining himself. Therefore, in theory, as long as the Deputy City Lord becomes one of his own, then the Baxing City Lord can truly cover the sky with one hand. This is also what Karma has always wanted to achieve. Chapter 22. Karma has tried many methods to win over the Deputy City Lord, but has never been successful. In-laws, that's what Karma is using. As the youngest daughter of the Deputy City Lord, Kathy is Karma's main target. It's just that Karma has always asked his nephew to pursue him, but unfortunately, the results have been minimal. Now Wang Zibin, and what happened in the ring, let Karma see a turning point, maybe, take advantage of it. Thinking of this, Karma ordered someone to investigate Wang Zibin's information. At this time, Wang Zibin naturally didn't know that he had got his wish and won the attention of the vice president of Baxing College, although not because of his strength, but because of his appearance. 5 days later, the night ranking competition came to an end. Wang Zibin was at the bottom with a ranking of 188. In front of him are all formal knights, and behind him are all apprentice knights. In other words, Wang Zibin has successfully earned the title of goalie for the Cavaliers. But the reason for becoming the bottom of the official knight is not what Wang Zibin wants. God knows what kind of painful match Wang Zibin has gone through since his battle with Kathy that day. But when a female student fights against Wang Zibin, it is as if a new world has been opened by Kathy, attacking Wang Zibin with normal attacks crazily. Of course, the so-called normal attack can be regarded as a touch without using blood. What's even more exasperating is that because of Wang Zibin's vegetable chicken, there is nothing to do with female students. It can be said that after a game, Wang Zibin not only failed to win the game, but he was also touched by the frenzied female students. Although limited by the rules, no one dares to touch some private parts, but as a dignified man, Wang Zibin cannot allow himself to be bullied like this. Therefore, Wang Zibin, a man who is able to bend and stretch, resolutely admits defeat when he meets a female student who is a formal knight, and has just avoided the humiliation later. After talking about female students, we have to talk about male students. What Wang Zibin thought was humiliation, in the eyes of all the male students, it was a heavenly enjoyment. So, the male students launched an even crazier attack on Wang Zibin. How crazy is it? Crazy enough to trade injury for injury, but also to hurt Wang Zibin. Dire situation. This is what Wang Zibin felt when he played against Wang Zibin. The so-called knowledgeable person is a hero. Under such circumstances, in order to protect himself, Wang Zibin can only choose to admit defeat when he meets an official knight, and only fights and shows himself when he meets an apprentice knight. Therefore, while Wang Zibin became the bottom of the official knight, he also won a title recognized by knight apprentices as a knight who bullies the soft and fears the hard, obedient to the official knight, take the initiative to admit defeat, attack the apprentice knight, bully the weak and fear the hard. All in all, Wang Zibin's last place has unspeakable difficulties, and he was even misunderstood because of this, leaving a bad reputation. But none of this affected Wang Zibin's joyful mood after the knight ranking match was over, because 3 knight academies offered him an olive branch. The first one, White Star City Military Knight Academy, was the retreat prepared by Wang Zibin himself. As a knight academy with no threshold, the olive branch offered to Wang Zibin also brought a series of resources beyond ordinary treatment, as well as the treatment of being directly awarded the position of officer after graduation. The second is the White Star City Noble Knight Academy. Although the gossip said that it was because of Kathy's request that Wang Zibin was invited to enroll, but Wang Zibin naturally couldn't listen to the gossip, and took it for granted that his own strength attracted them. The third one is the First Knight Academy in Baixing City, Baixing Academy. As the best knight academy in Baixing City, Baixing Academy is not only willing to provide Wang Zibin with the best treatment, but also the vice president personally gave him a chance to enter the city lord's treasury to select treasures. After comparison, normal people know what to choose. Wang Zibin is no exception, he immediately chose White Star Academy. In this way, Wang Zibin seemed to lose the game, but actually became the biggest winner in the Cavaliers ranking tournament, whether it is Kathy's fancy, or the opportunity to enter the treasure house of the city lord to choose treasures, all the students dream of it. On the same day, Wang Zibin completed the formalities, moved into the White Star Academy, and became a member of the White Star Academy. At night, the Deputy City Lord's mansion. The Deputy City Lord who heard some gossip called Kathy to the study and asked his own question, "Did you really take a fancy to that commoner?" Originally, the Deputy City Lord would not listen to these gossips, but it was related to his daughter, and the spread was so widespread that he had to get out and ask Kathy to confirm, "I heard that he doesn't have a very good reputation. He's a tyrant, a bully, etc." The words of the Deputy City Lord undoubtedly showed his attitude, disapproving of Kathy's choice. Kathy chuckled lightly and said, "Even your father was deceived by me, let alone that woman." That woman refers to Kama, the daughter of City Lord Baixing, of course. Kama's method of wooing them is very annoying, and Kathy's words fully explain that the so-called falling in love with Wang Zibin is just a means of misleading Kama. Hearing Kathy's words, the Deputy City Lord was relieved and instructed, "Although we are from the Empire, White Star City belongs to Kama and the others after all. You can use these small tricks, but don't use other things, especially don't confront Kama head-on." Kathy could only nod obediently to the Deputy City Lord's repeated instructions. After leaving the Deputy City Lord's room, Kathy thought silently, as she said, Wang Zibin was indeed her means of misleading karma. But who can say no to a handsome man like Wang Zibin? Unfortunately, it is still too weak after all. A look of pity flashed in Kathy's eyes. Wang Zibin's status as a commoner and the strength of a first-order knight are really not worthy of her. As for talent, in the eyes of Kathy and even the Deputy City Lord, at Wang Zibin's age, it's nothing more than that. 2 flowers bloom, each representing a branch. When Kathy felt sorry, Karma looked at Wang Zibin's information on the table, her eyes flickering. Among all the people who followed Wang Zibin, only she paid a price to investigate Wang Zibin's information. If recruiting Wang Zibin into the White Star Academy was Karma's idle chess to win over Kathy, then the personal gift that seemed to increase the attractiveness later was that Karma really took a fancy to Wang Zibin. Unlike others who think that Wang Zibin, who just became a formal knight at the age of 18, is just talented, Karma, who has carefully investigated Wang Zibin, knows that Wang Zibin is officially a knight, which is short for fashion. This means that Wang Zibin has an extremely amazing talent. Chapter 23. Even though Wang Zibin is 18 years old now, it's a bit late, but the flaws are not concealed. In Karma's view, Wang Zibin is still a talent to be made. If Wang Zibin knew what Karma was thinking, he would definitely be moved to tears. Others only saw his good looks, and only Karma could see his talent buried deep under his good looks. Of course, besides Kathy and Karma, there are people who can't see anything. In the civilian area, Dean, a well-known blacksmith, smelled of alcohol. After sending off the congratulators, he closed the door and instantly eliminated the alcohol smell on his body. Those who came to congratulate him were all those who learned that Wang Zibin had entered the White Star Academy. Although Wang Zibin is at the bottom of all the formal knight students, for ordinary people, Wang Zibin who entered the White Star Academy is undoubtedly tantamount to embarking on the road to prosperity. After knowing the news, they immediately came to congratulate Dean, hoping to get some connections. However, they didn't know that Dean, who showed great surprise to this, immediately darkened his face after sending them away. I didn't expect this kid to have such a talent. Originally, Wang Zibin was just a tool used by Dean to cover up his identity and reduce his attention, but he never expected to have such a talent and enter the White Star Academy. For Dean, this is actually self-defeating. Because after Wang Zibin entered White Star Academy, as his cheap uncle, Dean inevitably received attention. As a spy of Dean Haori Empire, such attention is definitely full of danger. Even Dean has already prepared a full set of identification for Wang Zibin, a poor boy whose parents died and was forced to go to his uncle. But there is no airtight wall in the world, and Dean himself does not believe that such an identity certificate can be concealed for a lifetime. Therefore, once something is found out, Dean will be implicated in an instant. This is absolutely intolerable to Dean. My good nephew, if you continue to live, I will be too dangerous. At this moment, Dean has already murdered Wang Zibin. There are two reasons. First, as time goes by, Wang Zibin's talent is revealed day by day, and the risk of Dean's exposure increases day by day. In the second paragraph, in Dean's view, Wang Zibin is a genius of the Starry Empire, he must be killed. But even though Dean has decided to kill Wang Zibin, he is not in a hurry. At any rate, Wang Zibin has only become famous. If he is killed at this time, the White Star City will definitely investigate him thoroughly. So we need to wait for Wang Zibin's reputation to fade, and kill him so as not to cause a big commotion. As a spy who has been lurking for many years, Dean is very cautious. Since that day, he has greatly reduced his spy activities and waited for the limelight to pass. Go in, remember you can only choose one, and there are things that feel dangerous, don't touch. After Karma said something briefly to Wang Zibin, he asked Wang Zibin to enter the Santos treasure house to pick a treasure and fulfill his promise. At this time, 10 days have passed since the end of the night qualifying match. Karma brought Wang Zibin here suddenly after he got used to life in White Star Academy. Wang Zibin walked into the treasure house of the city lord with excitement. However, the first time he entered, Wang Zibin's heart was half cold. The purpose of entry is all the supplies of the army, such as armor and weapons. Wang Zibin, who saw these things, was dumbfounded. This is the city lord's treasury? Maybe it's not the warehouse of White Star City. Fortunately, Wang Zibin saw that there was still something inside, so he quickly stabilized his mood and went deep. What Wang Zibin didn't know was that, as a person with a fief, the White Star City Lord would naturally store some military supplies in his warehouse just in case. Wang Zibin smiled as he walked in and saw more and more valuable things. The most valuable thing in the treasure house is the few items placed in the depths, including armor and weapons, all of which are extraordinary treasures at first glance. Even Wang Zibin saw a magic wand. You know, the magic wand in this world is an extremely precious thing, and at least a 6th level wizard can have one. Wang Zibin has always cast spells without a wand. As a mage, he is quite greedy for this wand. Well, even if the wand was useless to him, it would be a huge sum of money if he took it away and sold it. In addition, there are some other things in the deepest part of the treasure house, which look like miscellaneous things, but are actually things that the Lord Baxing has not studied. They all have one thing in common, that is, they have extraordinary origins and are not ordinary things. At this time, facing so many treasures, it was difficult for Wang Zibin to make a choice. Still, that's not a huge deal. During the 10 days, Wang Zibin did not do nothing while exercising hard. Instead, he spent his spare time thinking about how to maximize his benefits. At this time, it is time for Wang Zibin to use the method he came up with. Facing the many treasures, Wang Zibin closed his eyes, and his consciousness sank into his mind. On the second innate spell slot, Wang Zibin took down the accumulated overtime hanging on it, and replaced it with a new spell in spirit. Idiom, whim, refers to a sudden or accidental idea in the mind. Spell whim, mobilize the 6th sense and get a guide. The moment he finished loading whim, Wang Zibin spent all his mana to release this spell. In an instant, Wang Zibin's consciousness fell into a blur, and a strange feeling appeared in his mind. In a blur of consciousness, Wang Zibin's body moved according to the feeling, walked a few steps obliquely, and stopped in front of a square half-meter high cube. This is a cube that looks like a pure metal block, something that Wang Zibin ignored at the first time, because it doesn't seem to be of high value. Standing in front of the cube, Wang Zibin's meaning became clear again. After looking at it curiously, he found nothing. It is just a cube, nothing more. Without much hesitation, Wang Zibin picked up the cube and walked outside the treasure house. Obviously, Wang Zibin finally chose the guidance of on a whim. After all, this is the guidance obtained by mobilizing his sixth sense, which is mysterious and unspeakable. How did you come out so quickly? Karma asked in surprise when Wang Zibin came out. After seeing the cube held by Wang Zibin, Karma asked again, why did you choose this thing? Didn't you choose the most valuable staff, the most useful weapon and armor for you? Don't dare to choose. Wang Zibin shook his head and said calmly, I'm afraid that if I have a choice, I won't be able to use my life. Indeed, those things are precious, but they cannot be kept by Wang Zibin, who is currently only at the first level of strength. In other words, even if Wang Zibin has a 5th level strength, he can't hold it. Chapter 24. Level 5 strength. Even if Wang Zibin has more confidence in himself, he doesn't think this is a goal that can be achieved in the short term. Therefore, Wang Zibin would rather choose on a whim than to increase his own risk for nothing. After all, with Wang Zibin's talent, what he lacked was time and resources, not treasures. This time, Wang Zibin entered the city lord's treasury to select treasures, and he came here with the idea of unexpected joy, not any real sudden wealth. At the very least, if there is such a thing, karma in front of Wang Zibin will never allow Wang Zibin to take it away. Hearing Wang Zibin's words, Karma nodded appreciatively, that's right, it's useless for you to take those things. I don't know when they will be useful. With that said, Karma changed the topic, pointed at the cube Wang Zibin was holding and said, it's a nice thing you got. A sealed item from the ancient ruins can sell some antiques and sell for a lot of money. Seeing Wang Zibin's puzzled eyes, Karma explained, mages from a long time ago like to use sealing techniques to preserve things. Of course, the only things that can be sealed up to now are ordinary items without energy. As long as there is some energy, the energy in it will automatically break the seal with the passage of time. You can choose to sell this item directly to the auction house, and the price is average. Or, find a mage and break the seal. If the contents are good, you can earn more. No matter what, it can make you a lot of money. In Karma's explanation, Wang Zibin understood what kind of object a cube is. That's right, it's a blind box. After explaining, Karma remembered the antiques in the house, and said with a slightly unnatural expression, speaking of this kind of thing, it has nothing to do with gambling. You should pay attention. The reason why this cube appeared in the city lord's treasury was because Karma was fascinated by it when he was young and bought a lot of it. As a result, naturally a bunch of antiques were opened and placed at home. The ones stored in the city lord's treasury were not opened after Karma woke up. Wang Zibin listened to Karma's admonition words with a hint of concern, raised his head in surprise, and looked at Karma in front of him for the first time. If you don't look at the face, Karma has a plump figure, fair skin, and is full of allure. But one look at Karma's face, then there is no temptation. This is a face where angels and devils coexist, half of which is full of shame, and half of which is full of scars. It is the scar on this side of the face that allows Wang Zibin, who is supposed to be full of vitality, to get along with Karma calmly. Now Wang Zibin's scrutiny is not because of any intentions, but it seems that he wants to see Karma from his heart. Facing Wang Zibin's gaze, Karma showed sharp eyes subconsciously. Since she returned from the battlefield, there are only a handful of people in Bexing City who dare to look at her appearance. Wang Zibin lowered his head for a moment, and returned to his original appearance, avoiding Karma's sharp eyes just right. Afterwards, the two left the treasure house of the city lord as usual, as if nothing happened just now. But both Wang Zibin and Karma have already left traces in their hearts. After Wang Zibin returned to the dormitory with the cube in his arms, he didn't immediately think about opening the cube, but put it aside and ignored it. As a smart person, even if Wang Zibin really wanted to see what he chose on a whim, he couldn't open it for his own safety. With Wang Zibin's enthusiasm, there are quite a few people staring at him, so it is undoubtedly dangerous to open it at this time. In the days that followed, Wang Zibin kept a low profile. Apart from his daily study, he worked hard by himself. White Star Academy is indeed the best academy in White Star City, and the secret night medicine it provides is extremely effective. In the absence of absorption efficiency, Wang Zibin personally perceives that its effect is about 3 times that of his original academy. And if the absorption efficiency is counted, the gap will be even greater from person to person. In addition, Wang Zibin enjoys the best resources, and some nutritious food is also unlimited supply for him. This allows Wang Zibin to quickly replenish energy after exercising every day without any shortage. Originally, Wang Zibin thought that as long as he was low-key enough, he would be able to develop steadily. Unfortunately, things backfired. He was popular among female students because of his good looks, but he was already jealous. When there are many jealous people, there will naturally be people who find fault. Especially in the case of Wang Zibin's background as a commoner, his bottom grades, and his nickname of a knight who bullies the weak and fears the tough, such things are unavoidable. Previously, because Wang Zibin was recruited by Karma himself, if he wanted to trouble him, he had to worry about Karma. After a period of time, Karma didn't pay too much attention to Wang Zibin, which made people unable to help but make a move. In the classroom, Wang Zibin, who had just finished the compulsory culture class at the Night Academy and packed up his things to go back to the dormitory for exercise, was surrounded by a group of people. Wang Zibin, stop! It was said to be surrounded, but in fact most of them were spectators. The person who really stopped Wang Zibin was Yu Figuang. With a roar, Yu Figuang stopped in front of Wang Zibin. Wang Zibin looked at Yu Figuang without any surprise. Although Wang Zibin was squeezed out by the male students, the female students had already given Wang Zibin some reminders. Yu Figuang in front of him is one of them who needs special attention. In public alone, Yu Figuang said more than once that he wanted to teach Wang Zibin a lesson. Yu Figuang, after the nobility, a first-order knight. In Yu Figuang's heart, although he did not qualify for the final knight ranking competition because he did not qualify at the White Star Academy, he simply looked down on ordinary knights like Wang Zibin. He believes that Wang Zibin is just relying on good luck and a good face. Yu Figuang stopped Wang Zibin this time because he wanted to give Wang Zibin a good meal, to vent his jealousy of Wang Zibin's appearance. Therefore, after Yu Figuang stopped Wang Zibin, he said directly, "Come with me, let's exchange martial arts." As soon as Yu Figuang finished speaking, the surrounding students all showed tacit smiles. In the Night Academy, it is forbidden to take the initiative to attack. Usually when you want to teach someone a lesson, you will use the name of exchanging martial arts. Regarding Yu Figuang's words, Wang Zibin frowned and replied with one word, "Roll." As soon as Wang Zibin's word roll came out, the scene became silent for an instant. Yu Figuang looked even stiffer. He thought that Wang Zibin would find various reasons to refuse because of fear, and he also thought that Wang Zibin would grovel and let him humiliate him. But I never thought that Wang Zibin would just let him go. Chapter 25. Humiliation. Great humiliation. At this moment, Yu Figuang felt the ultimate humiliation. In particular, the onlookers were first silent because of Wang Zibin's word scroll, and then looked at Yu Figuang playfully. Under such circumstances, Yu Figuang's face turned red rapidly, his eyes were bloodshot, and he swung his big hand towards Wang Zibin's face, cursing angrily, "FK, UBD." Yu Figuang was extremely angry. This slap was powerful and heavy. If it really hit Wang Zibin's face, not to mention swelling, but a clear slap print would definitely be indispensable. However, facing such a slap, Wang Zibin seems to have been prepared. Lift your breath, make a fist, swing your fist, all in one go. When Yu Figuang shot, Wang Zibin's half-step punch suddenly hit Yu Figuang's abdomen. And this punch contained blood. For a moment, the words that Yu Figuang was about to continue to swear were abruptly struck by Wang Zibin's punch that came after him, making him unable to utter any more words. Ho ho, like a shrimp, Yu Figuang covered his abdomen and arched his body, making a painful gasp. All of this happened between lightning and flint. No one reacted, and no one expected it. After punching, Wang Zibin left the classroom straight away. No one dared to stop, and no one would stop. Even the friends who came with Yu Figuang didn't think about stopping Wang Zibin at this moment. Even the crowd of onlookers subconsciously parted a path to let Wang Zibin walk over. Ruthless. This is the idea that echoes in the minds of all the students, and it is also their perception of Wang Zibin. Most of the people present were formal knights, and there were also those who had participated in the knight ranking competition. They have seen blood, and they are not afraid of fighting. But they never thought that in daily life, there would be classmates who would act so decisively without any nonsense. From beginning to end, Wang Zibin uttered a word and delivered a punch. Such behavior shocked all the students who still appeared in the ivory tower. "Hey, how dare you!" Yu Figuang, who made a painful sound, clenched his teeth and stared at Wang Zibin with extremely resentful eyes. Yufei Guang, who was unexpectedly punched by Wang Zibin with the power of a knight, suffered from abdominal pain, but what made him more painful was the torture of his heart. Originally, Yufei Guang, who thought that his strength and status far surpassed Wang Zibin, found such an opportunity and brought a large group of people over, ready to show off his power and status. Unexpectedly, if he failed to pretend to be forceful, he would become the backdrop for Wang Zibin's fame. At this time, Yufei Guang endured the pain in his abdomen, and watched Wang Zibin go away resentfully. Then Yufei Guang rejected his companion's hypocritical concern, and walked back to his dormitory alone like a defeated dog. Yufei Guang did not choose to report to the academy that Wang Zibin had seriously injured him, because he knew that he was the first to act before the public, and if he was held accountable, he was the primary responsibility. Even after he reported, Wang Zibin would not be spared the punishment for using the power of the knight, and he did not do so. Yufei Guang licked his wound alone, his resentful eyes kept flashing, he wanted to kill Wang Zibin at all costs, so as to calm the anger in his heart. This is the most important reason why Yufei Guang did not report. As the saying goes, a dog that bites does not bark. Yufei Guang no longer intends to bite, but devours. Wang Zibin was meditating in the dormitory, not paying attention to Yufei Guang at all. Doesn't he know the possible consequences of his actions? No, of course Wang Zibin knew. But Wang Zibin is not afraid. And to be honest, if it was not in the academy, but in the wild, what Wang Zibin cast would not be fists, but spells. For people like Yufei Guang who want to waste his time, Wang Zibin just wants them to disappear from this world. Tell them that time is life. Since you dare to waste my time, I dare to take your life. Perhaps for Yufei Guang, bullying ordinary people like Wang Zibin is just a daily pastime, but for Wang Zibin, it will waste a lot of training time. It is impossible for Wang Zibin to slowly escalate conflicts and go back and forth for several rounds. He, the Black Mage, doesn't talk too much. Therefore, Wang Zibin directly raised the contradiction to the extreme, and prepared for the worst. The next time we meet, as long as the timing is right, it will be a meeting of life and death. That is to say, Yufei Guang will hide like a poisonous snake, and find the right opportunity to launch a fatal blow to Wang Zibin, which greatly increases Wang Zibin's risk. Of course, there are huge benefits that come with heightened risk. The advantage of doing this is that with Yufei Guang's lessons learned, Wang Zibin will not come to Wang Zibin for similar troubles, and his time will not be wasted. This is also the reason why Wang Zibin shot decisively. But objectively speaking, although Wang Zibin will not be disturbed in a short period of time, it is not necessarily the case for his relatives. After all, people live in the world, and there are many things involved. But for nobles like Yufei Guang, it's perfectly normal to use off-board tricks. It's just that Wang Zibin is not worried about any outside tricks, because he believes that the cheap uncle who treats him as a tool will have no problems. In the White Star Academy's dean's office, Kama looked at the report on the Academy's internal affairs on the table, with a bad expression on her face. Because the conflict between Wang Zibin and Yufei Guang is being reported. The reason for Karma's bad face is not because someone troubled Wang Zibin, but a phenomenon revealed by Yufei Guang's beating, that is to say, compared with Wang Zibin who made a decisive move, Yufei Guang and even his friends lack the bloodiness shown by Wang Zibin. This is what she saw from Kama's point of view. She felt that, as a student trained by her academy, Yufei Guang was a little ashamed, which made her face ashamed. For this reason, Karma thought for a while, and decided to let these students meet the blood in advance. Under normal circumstances, White Star Academy will arrange for students to go to the wild on the eve of their graduation, or under special circumstances, to fight with monsters to baptize with blood and fire. Now, feeling ashamed, Karma decided to arrange this matter in advance. The next day, a message was announced: the academy will arrange for the students to go outside the city in 1 month to wipe out the monsters. This news instantly detonated the academy. Clean up the monsters? Isn't that very dangerous? Why is it so early this year? I finally have the chance to go out and fight. Going to kill monsters? I have to get a set of equipment quickly. In the academy, there are many discussions about this, some are afraid, some are doubtful, and some are preparing for it, and so on. And Yufei Guang, when he heard the news, his eyes burst into a vicious light. Wang Zibin, your time of death has arrived. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you are notified of future uploads. You can find the next parts in the playlist visible on the screen or on my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.